It is 9:06. This is the EST Hangout. Matt Awanek, Tom Gazzola, Jackie Moon with you here as we wait for Shawn Belle to join us in the next half hour or so. He'll stop by, and then he will join us on the Hangout today. Also, it will be Lieutenant Eric. Tommy, we got to bring you into a discussion that we had on the Nielsen show today.
I'm kind of worried.
Go ahead.
Good morning.
We need to do it. Good morning. Good morning. So yesterday, Dustin's wife and his daughter made bags for Halloween to give away on Halloween.
Okay, yes.
Put in a bunch of candy.
Don't look at me like that.
Careful what you say, dude.
Last night, when everyone's in bed, Dusty went into 5 or 6 of them, took the caramel out of 5 or 6 bags, and didn't replace the candy in those bags.
Why?
I wanted caramels.
Oh, man.
I'm going with that candy's been earmarked for kids.
Yeah.
He's stealing from these kids preemptively.
He did buy these candies, him and Tam.
Correct.
wife did.
Correct.
Yeah.
We did, Tommy.
His
That's
wife
right.
did. He didn't. His wife did.
Okay.
She took the time to make these bags.
And Muzz, too.
Did Dusty steal from the kids?
Okay. The intent, I don't like. But I understand because caramel is delicious. As a big caramel fan, it's delicious. Now, I know at some point, depending on how busy your block and neighborhood is, you might have to make a run. So that tends to happen. If you happen to replace the caramel and then some by tonight, all is well.
My dad
I like
texted me
that.
too. My dad's
All
like,
is
just
well.
refill the bags, damn it.
HR Daddy coming in clutch.
I got a buddy who texts me too. He says, tell Maddie to stop worrying about the Halloween thing and start fixing his spelling on the thing where it says the hangout is being shortly.
Yes.
You don't know something? Tube socks.
I saved that for you.
Sent
I've
that
seen
to
that.
me when we first said I haven't
been
gone
up for
and
like
fixed
2
that.
weeks, like
I
3
haven't
weeks,
gone and
like-
fixed that part
Yeah.
yet.
Well, we've got a
No,
couple
I'll
of
take
problems
you
here.
Then I forgot. Okay.
I've made my case already.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I understand.
It's not stealing
Okay.
in
You
any
keep
way.
talking.
Okay. Why?
Fixing this so I don't forget.
Oh, you're going to fix it right now.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Fix it right now.
Now,
So I've made my case. This is not stealing. We have not distributed this candy
said
out yet.
taking.
Yeah, I took it. There's a huge difference between taking and stealing. I can take something when it's mine still, right? Stealing would be if I gave it to the kids and then creeped around the corner behind them, reached into the bag and took it back. That's stealing.
That would just be worse, I think.
Of course that would be
Because
worse.
now
That's stealing.
This is me being me, and I'm very sensitive to things like this. I appreciate when things are put together. A sandwich from a deli, from a deli lady that makes it with love. It's just that much better. You've got the Muzz and Tam working on these Halloween bags for kids, and they make them with the best of intentions and love, and they're supposed to go to kids having the best night of their
They're
year.
still going to get the bag. It's just
Yeah,
one
I know.
short.
Shortchanged them. You've shortchanged
You know what?
them.
The kids might not know that you shortchanged
Exactly.
them.
They
the,
won't.
The universe does. And now thousands and thousands of Edmontonians and beyond also know. Unless you totally redeem yourself
I'm not.
by stopping at Sobeys or Safeway on the way and getting a replenishment of caramel minis for those young children that are going to have the time of their lives tonight. And it'll only be enhanced if they have that extra caramel bar in the bags that Muzz and Tammy made with love for them on this glorious of days.
Can I spin it one more way?
The hard work of your daughter. You just ruined it.
Look, the Muzz loves doing this stuff.
And you ruined it.
No,
You
she
took
doesn't care that
advantage
I
of
ruined
it.
it. We'll find out tomorrow. We're going to have her on
They
tomorrow.
made you
Great.
a bag.
They made me a bag separately of just caramels.
This makes it even worse.
I had that already. And then I was like, oh, man, I wouldn't mind a few more.
What happened to
So-
you?
Man, I was hungry last night. It was
Did
a
you go
long
for
day.
caramel?
Yeah, I love caramels.
Me too.
As somebody said, why don't we view this as me saving a small handful of kids from a greater chance of type 2 diabetes?
First of
Because
all,
that's not what Halloween's about.
Halloween's not about type 2 diabetes? My goodness,
It's
Matt.
about the kids get the free pass today.
yeah.
They get to go out. They get to have their candy. They get to enjoy themselves. They get to stay up late for some of them. 364, we could worry about that stuff. Today is about the children.
Yeah.
And you have robbed them of something today.
And if you're going to say that word, you say it right. It's diabetes.
Oh, sorry. You guys aren't even handing out candy at
Yes,
your
I
place.
am.
Not at your place.
I'm not.
No,
But
because you
this is
can't.
a whole different thing.
No, because-
you're a Halloween mooch.
You're-
You guys are Halloween mooches.
The reason I go to my brothers to hand out is I don't trust kids from taking all the candy.
Yet
Right.
I'm supposed to leave candy in bags for these little thieves.
No, so I go because my brother and his wife, they want to take their kids trick or treating. I don't. So instead of splitting up who gets to go and who doesn't, I go to the house to hand out the candy.
That's a good uncle.
So that they can go, and then also I don't have to. I know that kids are going to get their candy because no teenagers are going to come and just steal it all.
Do you feel
That's
weird?
why I'm going to do that.
Do you feel weird taking the Halloween candy credit for candy that your brother purchased?
It's his house. That house gets the credit.
No, you're getting the credit because you're there dishing it out, right?
But if I wasn't there might not be any candy.
That's a good
You
point.
can put it on a bowl out on the
And then
stoop.
one kid comes, dumps it all in their bag, and then there's no candy for the rest of the kids.
So tonight-
I am there so that all the kids in that neighborhood can get candy.
Tonight, while you're handing out candy, you will not one time have one for yourself.
No, I don't need it. I'll have them after.
He's gonna have a candy.
But
I
again,
know he's gonna have a
here's-
candy.
so you're gonna be
here's where
That's
the
a
issue
bold-faced
is.
lie.
But
Yeah.
here's where the issue also comes is that if it was just a box you guys purchased, and it's sitting at the front door and you grabbed some caramel out of the box, that's one thing. These were placed in bags for the kids.
With love.
With love.
Thank you.
They've completely been earmarked for the children. Not for you.
Yeah.
They're not just sitting there for anyone. They have been placed into it's like the wrapping of a Christmas gift. You are giving it to whoever you've wrapped it for.
They don't get
This-
it until you give it to them.
But it's
You can do whatever you want with that Christmas gift as long as it's in
could.
your possession, which is whatever I'm doing with the candy.
Karma's a bitch, Dusty.
I'm gonna have candy karma coming back
Yeah.
around. Man, I'm gonna something bad's gonna happen to them. I'll be like, damn it, Tommy was right. Karma is a bitch.
It's going to be candy related, but yes.
I'm gonna come to your neighborhood and
Month-
just start pushing kids to egg your house.
yeah.
No, don't do
All
that.
right, few comments on YouTube here in the nasty chat. Kitty Pup 1000 says, "To hell with the kids. They're lucky to get what they get. If they want more, go to the store and buy the candy."
Oh,
That's not what this.
Ouch.
You guys are all just terrible people
ouch.
for not
At
caring
least
about
we're
the kids.
buying candy to
Not-
give to kids and not becoming a Halloween mooch.
I don't have a
Now, are you
place.
doing anything? Are you going anywhere? Or are you just sitting at home tonight?
No, I had other plans today. I forgot it was Halloween until I saw a lady dressed as Supergirl on 107th Ave on my way to the studios.
Here's
I
the
was,
thing.
oh yeah, damn.
We
I don't
live in
have
a
anything.
condo that doesn't do this. Like that's
Yeah, they
not,
don't.
It's when you own a
Condo
house.
snobs.
I
eh?
read the
When you
condo
own
minutes
a
last night. It
house-
was exciting.
It's one of those things where you've signed into a contract, if you will, with trick or treaters for Halloween that you will be there
Yeah.
to give out candy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is not something that's in the high rise as much. Like that's when I go buy a house one day, I will be ready to buy my own candy, and I will hand out my own candy to the
Yeah.
kids.
It's
But I
a
need a
big
house
game
for that.
to talk. It's a big game to
You
talk.
know what I'm saying?
Our
I will be
building-
full size chocolate bar guy for that.
Oh,
I respect
here
the
we
hell
go.
out of that.
Calling it.
Pete Schrager had a great one. The Haribo gummy bears, the mini packages. I don't know if we have them in Canada, but that would be the best Halloween candy to receive. Is just like a good package of gummy bears. Our building, what do we have? Like 5, 6 units on each floor, maybe 7 on one.
Ranges from well, most I think has 7,
Yeah, and we can't.
but you can't go between floors.
So
Really?
you could wait and trick or treat on your own floor. If there's
Yeah, but
somebody
there's no
there.
kids.
There's like
How do you know how
There's
many
one
kids
kid on
live in
my
each
floor.
house? See, he knows there's a kid on his floor.
Yeah, it's a
So
baby.
Yeah, but my
this
floor
kid's
has
gonna
none.
come by your house tonight and get nothing.
It's well, the kid's like 1, and the
Oh,
neighbor down the
I don't
hall.
have any,
They're like
No
a new,
kids.
new young.
I have none on
couple.
my floor.
Wow. I mean, whatever.
so I have nothing. To,
I don't feel bad about it.
And that's
I'm
the
a,
sad part.
I'm a,
That's
I'm a
the-
truck guy now.
That's the part
and
that's
I'm a prick.
bothersome. That you just don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't know. It doesn't
I
bother
thought
me.
I knew you, man.
Yeah, nobody knows me now.
Wow.
I'm changed now.
Truck, and now you're like, I'm gonna have to file a complaint with HR, Daddy.
I'm going to create a policy around here that nobody bitches about my Halloween tactics anymore.
Surveyor Brett. So you wrap the gift, put it under the tree, and then go take it
I
back.
don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you could,
Wow.
Wow.
it's your right. That's
know-
all I'm saying, you guys.
He doesn't
And you'd
wrap
keep it for
it.
yourself.
How are the Oilers not playing
You would
tonight?
keep
Why
it
is
for
this
yourself.
happening right now?
You would keep it for yourself.
Irrelevant.
I wouldn't keep it for myself.
That's what you did though with the
I
candy.
mean, if it was delicious chocolate, I might eat it.
This is just disgusting.
way to
just
try to
outright,
sidetrack
it's
the conversation.
Pretty disgusting.
Can we not talk
We
about
gotta
the
move
bottom
on, actually.
six lack of
Well,
production?
no, we got to move on to something else
Okay.
Okay.
because we haven't done this yet.
Hey, are you trading with Milne?
I have not heard from the glue guy about a trade.
Does he have your number?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
He's predicting at least 2 trades.
Last
Is
time
he
I made a
predicting?
trade, it
He
didn't
said
go
he
well.
will. That's not a
He
prediction.
guaranteed
He's
it.
saying
He
he's
basically
done,
guaranteed
so-
it. I say
He's
none
new
of
to
us
the-
trade with him so then we can call him out.
He's
on being
clearly
overly
new to
confident.
this.
The EST draft will take place tomorrow from 9 until 11 right here on The Hangout. For those listening on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, for those listening on TuneIn, and for those watching on YouTube, we've got the first edition of the draft on Edmonton Sports Talk. We are going to be drafting sports coaches from TV and movies.
Nice.
The thing we haven't figured out yet is the categories and what is required.
Yeah,
we've got to quickly
we got
figure
things
that
to
out
do
here because you guys all have to prepare for this. And what's going to happen tomorrow from about 9 till 9:30,
Yeah.
each of you is going to come in one at a time, and I'm just going to interview him for pregame.
respect
I like that.
You guys got 30, like you guys got about 25 minutes each or 20 minutes each to do some extra prep, final prep. And then we'll do the draft about 9:30. We'll officially launch it. But how many rounds do we think we got?
I think we got to go an even dozen.
You think we could go 12?
Do
We
we
can
have
easily
enough?
go 12.
Is there
There's
enough?
enough.
Okay.
Think about all the coaches, assistant coaches, one-on-one coaches. I am not concerned at all about we always have enough. Like even when we go like 14 rounds after somebody texts in a list, you're like, man, that's a pretty good list of undrafted guys.
True.
So I think we go
Okay.
12 rounds. I just don't know how specific we want to get for categories here.
So I'm thinking one category I will push for is a coach's speech. The speech.
Ah,
You're not
that's a
taking
good
the
idea.
coach. You're taking the speech.
Okay.
The coach remains available.
That the coach is a different. It's just you're taking the speech.
The speech is
I like
its
it.
own
I
category.
would put it down
All
there.
right.
Yeah, speech is good.
Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth.
Oh man, that's a really good one, Tom.
Right? Like,
You're giving away some good info
Don't-
already.
no,
don't-
I thought
don't spoil
that's like
things.
a C-rated one, but
Don't spoil
that's an
things.
example.
Just careful. Like you got to protect
Oh,
your draft
God.
list.
Yeah.
My wife just texted me again.
What did she say?
Elizabeth did put effort into her choices for each bag.
Yep. Yep. I knew it because the Muzz.
Oh, the Muzz
cares.
tomorrow. It's on now. They don't have school tomorrow. It's on now. I don't know if we connect with them or they come in, but I gotta get to the bottom of this with the Muzz.
I think she's gonna be heartbroken when she finds out you did what you did last night.
You're gonna have to replace those now.
I'm sorry, dog. I usually got your back.
I will
but
give you a lesson in parenting tomorrow that everybody's gonna be like, damn it, Dusty knows what's up. You
Don't-
wait and see.
tears of
You
joy.
wait and see. Well, yeah,
He's gonna bribe her with something. He's bribing her with something.
Of course, I'm gonna bribe
I don't
her
have
with
to be.
something.
I don't have to be a parent to figure this one out.
Oh
Of course,
boy.
you're gonna bribe her with something. I'll win her over. She can come in and rip me all I want, and then I'll be like, "Listen, Muzz, do you want a Timbit?" She's gonna be like, "Yes, I love you, Daddy." So don't worry about that. Okay, sorry. Back to the draft. Tam, leave me alone. I'm trying to do this.
Thank you, Tammy. We've
Thank
got
you,
your
Tam.
back, and we've got the Muzz's back.
Yes.
You always remember that.
Whatever.
Pat in the county with one 780-218-9999 Paris Jewelers inbox. Bad coach category.
Bad
Oh,
coach.
the worst coach.
Do we have to look at?
Oh, bad coach category.
But that-
Do we look in the negative side of this too, like, or even the villain coach?
Villain
Best
coach.
Villain
or
coach, 'cause
Because
something.
bad coach would be subjective.
Villain coach,
right? Like,
hockey.
yeah.
The guy who coached the Hawks
yeah.
and Mighty Ducks.
And the
Iceland
Wolf
coach.
Wolf the
Yeah,
dentist.
the Iceland
Stanton.
coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad coach. Villain coach.
Villain coach.
Put it down.
Yeah.
Villain
Okay,
coach
one
is a
villain
great
coach.
idea.
I respect that.
Keep your ideas rolling in here.
So we don't think though a bad coach.
No.
Because bad coach could be like,
How do you determine
it's
that?
very subjective.
Yeah.
Blurred lines.
A villain's
there.
a villain.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So coach speech, villain coach. I would like to see a category for somebody who is designated nothing more than an assistant coach.
yeah.
Don't you think? There's a big category for
Like
assistant
Dauber
coaches out
from
there.
Coach. Remember Dauber?
No.
Actually, like I remember the show,
Yeah.
like, but I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
remember the
big,
in-depth
like,
of it.
Big guy.
Yeah, kind of like Moose from the
Yeah.
Archie comics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Dauber.
think we should definitely have an assistant coach category.
I like that.
Now, the question here is, do we also want to go, you have to have one designated hockey coach, basketball coach, baseball coach, football coach?
Is there enough like hockey?
I think
Oh, yeah.
so.
There's, I mean,
I think so.
instantly, yeah.
Coach
there's
Bombay.
Dunlop,
Yeah.
Herb Brooks from Miracle.
Herb Brooks from Miracle.
And then like you could go like Shorzy. I don't have not watched.
No,
Shorzy,
there would
so
be
I'm not
there would
sure.
be enough, I think, from
think
each of
there'd
the
be enough.
sports.
There's the coach from Letterkenny.
Baseball, football for
right.
sure. Basketball, yeah. There's hockey is it's weird because here in Canada you think hockey, but there's not many great hockey movies where you can pluck these coaches from. But there would be enough that we should each. And
Yeah.
what it does is it provides significant value on getting like a Gordon Bombay and putting him into a hockey coach category.
Yep.
Doesn't it? Like,
It does. I agree.
Yeah.
Of course,
So if we did
Bombay's
one
gotta be right
hockey-
up there.
One football,
One baseball.
one baseball, one basketball.
Yeah. Kind of the big four, right?
So that's 7.
Okay, and then five.
And then we
opens.
keep the 5 as open
5
category,
opens.
open
Yeah.
coaches category.
Yeah. Now, are you going to place the open category at the top of the voting list. This is something that
Well,
Glue Guy doesn't know about, but is extremely important to all of us. What's going to be placed at the top? I think open category.
I don't. We're brand new. Edmonton Sports. I don't know if I'm going to redo the look of what we. If it's just read.
Oh boy. Well,
just put
I gotta
we need
figure that
to
out.
know this
Stuff.
before we draft.
I need to see this PDF tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I don't know. There won't be a PDF.
What?
I won't lie.
You haven't properly.
Well, we're doing the
created-
categories right now.
What are you doing the rest of
It
the day?
takes you 3 minutes to make a
I've got-
PDF.
After 11 o'clock,
list.
you have nothing to do.
I've got a list of things I got to get done. I got nasty
we
club
all
things
have
to get
lists of
done.
things we need
You
to
had
get done, Matty.
PDFs of things that I didn't even think needed PDFs when we were at 1260.
Do we need...
Like what?
I don't know. I'm just saying it.
Can I ask a big question?
Okay.
Do we need a new commissioner? Is this too much for you to handle now? I'm worried about it. We don't want to put too much on your
It
plate.
seems like
we can't get a PDF of the draft stuff.
We've rushed this slightly.
You said
last
we
week.
you
We
gave
need
us a
to-
go ahead on this last week.
Of course.
Yeah.
But we didn't I have to do we haven't done I need the categories for do a PDF.
Well, we got the categories now.
Well, now we're working on it. Now
So
it's
let's get
done.
the PDF.
So I only have tonight to get this done.
You've
And
entered
and I
2004
don't
How long
like
does it
Batman
take you to do a
sending
PDF?
I don't like sending things that don't look good.
It's gonna look
I respect
fun.
that. But
It's
you
gonna
can
look
do
fun.
it in like 2 minutes.
Eventually, what I imagine is we have like another person working with us. They're running a live draft board ticker on the
That's
left
what
side.
I would love.
Yeah.
What's YouTube Trev doing tomorrow?
I don't. Well, I
That'd
don't.
be
he back
tough with this
today?
setup. Wait,
Well,
you know,
but see, here's the future. Like deepening into the plans.
I like
of
this.
AST. I think we will have a student from Nate joining us in the new year for a
Excellent.
period of
Practicum.
time, where I would like them to work on this show.
yeah.
So part of what they could do on the show is whenever we bring something up, like if we're talking about,
Mini desk. We need mini desk. in the
Mini
corner there.
desk.
Mini
but
desk.
like we were talking about some play that happened last night. They could quickly try to throw it up on the screen.
Who's knocking?
I thought somebody was knocking.
You guys knock?
someone maybe at the
dude,
door.
Trev, there he is. Hello.
Hey, Trev.
And then, but that person maybe
Oh,
could,
it's Belsey. Belsey
could do
doesn't have
that.
to knock.
He could do that.
Yeah.
And that's the.
Oh, landlord too.
Oh, nice.
Are they bringing the
What's
cleaning
Sam
stuff
doing?
back?
No, I don't
What's
know.
going
Sam's
on
just
here?
saying, are we getting evicted right now?
I might be bringing the cleaning stuff back. Oh, I heard Iwanik's going to be the guy
Just
to
a
ask.
sec. What's up?
You want to go switch with because Belle's here.
Yeah, I'll go switch.
You go deal with that, and then Belle will slide in.
Belsey,
And
you can slide in.
we'll figure out what's going on there.
Sorry, what's up?
Okay.
Oh, they're doing
HVAC
some
stuff.
cleaning of stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
HVAC.
this is great.
See, here's the thing. This is a weird hangover.
Hang on. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
we're the part of this building that we're renting. We have like the janitor's closet and like the special storage
We have
room
a
or
big
something that has
footprint.
like the electrical internet and all of that.
Yeah.
that they have to come to us for a bunch of things. So
Now
that's all that was happening.
We
there.
also, this is what people didn't know. There were things like this. That the chair does that. There are things at 1260 / the Bell Building where we would have the 10 o'clock alarm. Remember, it would be when
Yeah.
everybody was in commercial break.
Yeah.
So we had stuff like
Except
this.
us. Like they would do, like they moved the fire alarm to 10 o'clock at the top of the hour.
But we'd be on the
But
air.
right, like when
Yeah.
like music, they could just throw to a music.
Right.
They could throw a song,
Yeah.
put an extra song if they need to.
Right.
We're coming off like the Nielsen show ends. It was Low Tide and Jameson coming up.
Yeah.
Like we
CTV
can't
was in a
just like go to
commercial.
commercials for another 5 minutes.
Right.
Because we're waiting for this fire alarm to go. So we'd have to go on the air, and then all of a sudden this fire alarm would go off and be like, yeah, this is good radio. Big fire alarm ring in the back. Good thing is we don't have any fire alarms here.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
If there's something happens here, it just burns down.
We've got windows we can
They were
jump
just
out of.
asking us about our heating. I said, yeah, it's great. It's cold when it needs to be cold, warm when it needs to be warm.
Except my office. When it
Your-
needs to be cold,
Yeah.
it goes
Yeah.
extra
His
freezing.
office is
And
like
when it
this.
goes to
Your
be
office
hot,
is
it's
like on a
extra
different
boiling.
system. Anyway, Belsu's just taking a piss.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, sweet.
I just want back.
So
Are we
we've
good
got
now? We're good?
I think so we've got the 7 categories: 1 speech, 1 villain, 1 assistant, 1 hockey specific, 1 football specific, 1 baseball specific, 1 basketball
5 opens.
specific, 5 opens. Naturally, the open goes to the top.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Deal.
That's kind of the thing I've moved to is
Bells,
that
you
that
want to
one's
sit
going
here?
on
I'm
top.
out anyway. So, yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, okay. All right, I like this. Get me the PDF.
You know what? I almost want to
fill
float
those
what
bags
you.
up.
I want to get
Yeah,
Bellsy's
we're
take
gonna
on
get
what
this
you
one now.
did.
Yeah, we're gonna get this.
ahead.
We're
Well,
gonna get
you don't
this.
want to defend yourself.
Vilify me.
You vilified yourself.
Okay.
I didn't vilify anything. You
There's
guys.
little,
You did this.
There's a little spice
You
right
did
now.
this.
Oh, yeah.
I like
Okay,
yes.
yeah, there we go.
If you're gonna
I got
speak,
stuff to do.
if you're gonna speak, you got to turn up your mic.
I got stuff to do. Which one
Also,
is it, Matty? This
the one that's down. Yeah, but
this
that
is-
and you're not
this
really
is
on camera
amazing.
either.
This is-
Okay,
I don't
Belsy.
care.
Coming out of the
Okay,
gates hot
okay.
here.
Oh,
Yesterday,
yeah.
Dusty's wife and his daughter, they grab bags and they fill it with candy for Halloween.
Yep.
Individually
I heard
filled
a little
them.
bit about this. Yeah.
They
Okay.
filled it all up.
Yeah.
They put them aside. They made a bag for Dusty himself so he can eat his
Just
chocolate.
a little one.
Custom.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not like it's
Doesn't
a
matter.
huge bag.
You had a bag of caramels in there. Last night, when everyone goes to bed,
Yep.
he goes to the bags,
Not his own.
into 5 or 6 of them, takes the caramel out of them,
Nice.
doesn't replace the candy.
Nice.
There was not like if there was more candy there, it would have just had the candy. I would have had to move candy around from other bags.
Like I
So-
said, why didn't you just take from one
6
bag?
kids get 3 treats instead of 4. Who cares?
It's
Is this wrong?
that. Come on.
I mean, yeah.
There we go.
No, it's not. I'm not
Thank
sitting
you.
here
Did
saying-
he
But-
preemptively
Is it
steal
stealing?
from kids?
It's not stealing. It's my
not
candy.
stealing
Thank
from
you, Belsey.
kids, actually.
See, thank you.
I'm on the fence with this one. Was it wrong? 100% wrong. however, absolutely hilarious.
I didn't say it
Man
wasn't
likes
funny. I just,
man likes his caramel. That's just
Yeah,
fantastic.
I do. I like the caramel. I sorted through. I dug through bags. I was like, caramel bag. Boom, done.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
He's an adult to go buy his own.
Yeah.
These kids wait all
I
year
could buy
to
my
get
own
this
at
candy.
11 o'clock at night.
hey,
Yes, you
let's
can.
be honest.
They're not a
I'm
7-Eleven
not going
nearby?
out to a
Well, that's
7-Eleven
not
at 11
so
o'clock
you
at night.
can do it. You could DoorDash
Safeway
that.
today. Or
DoorDash that.
All
Uber
you need
Eats
to do
that.
to solve this whole problem is once you get down to those last few bags, you turn off the lights. Sorry, kids, we have no more candy. Done. Boom. Solved.
That's bad karma.
I also think
It's bad juju, but at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you do what you got to do.
Oh boy.
so then just take those bags out of circulation entirely.
100%.
And then you
So that changes
completely.
your opinion of it?
Well, no, because you've already done this. Like we've already gone that far.
So then why
But
would I not
yesterday,
just let those kids take those bags?
you
then?
should have just
but
I mean,
it's-
they're still getting candy.
not if you're shutting
Thank
the
you.
lights off beforehand before handing those ones out. Now,
Well, just
now you've
saying.
just shorted them the complete.
What about
candy.
this? What about this? I take those 6 bags that are short, open them up, mix those into other bags. So some kids are getting bonus bags.
Or you could put an apple.
oh boy.
Oh yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Or
Yeah, here's your
peanuts.
pieces of candy
Yeah,
and a couple
apples are
peanuts.
safe in our
Yeah.
house.
Did you ever have anyone throw peanuts and just throw them into your bag? You're like, what is this? And that
Eric
was
said
before
the
allergies.
bum did in his Saskatoon.
Oh,
You do that, and that's like recipe to get egged.
yeah.
yeah.
So there's also one other element to the story that you
Okay.
won't know
Oh,
is that his daughter carefully picked the candy
Yeah.
for each bag.
They were curated
She loves
candy
doing
bags.
this.
I feel like you should have opened with that. Then my
We learned
whole-
this in
No,
this
the
thing.
issue
Like
here is
that's
I wasn't stealing. I'm
Yeah.
not saying I was a good dad move. Like I'm not admitting to being a great dad because of this. But I'm just saying it's not stealing because it's technically my candy till it goes out the door.
It's not
That's all
stealing,
I'm
but
saying.
it's still wrong.
yes.
And you have
I'm
a
going with
chance
the-
to atone.
I
by
think you
picking some
preemptively
up.
I don't
stole
need to
from this
atone.
kid.
I'm still giving them candy.
That's bad karma.
Nobody cares about karma.
Elizabeth and Tam made these things.
Yeah. I'm out.
and there's a couple kids that
Here's
you
what
don't
I
even
think-
know.
Here's how I think you should rectify this. Go get 3 full-size candy bars.
Put it in those.
Put them
bags.
in those bags.
Wow.
3.
3. But
there's
was it
six.
5 or 6, I think.
5 or 6.
It may have been
5 or 6.
I don't know. Like,
And then now you've completely rectified the situation, and
feel good about
you
myself.
feel good about yourself, and you get the proper juju back.
and I'm a
He's
great
right.
dad again.
And a
Or-
great dad.
Well, we didn't say
Just
you weren't
go
a great
buy-
dad.
Sounds like you are.
Well, if he was off the show earlier, he could be a better dad.
Yeah,
you know.
questionable decision.
Who would think that? Eh?
Sorry, I had to say that. But or you could go buy a full box of those mini chocolates, fill those up each with one, and then you got a whole box for yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely. Gonna
You've
do
got
that.
full juju.
Yeah, there you go.
You've replenished the stock, and you get more chocolate for you.
Problem solved. I didn't
There
steal
it is.
anything.
You went
And
at
lesson
that
learned
point,
as a
but-
dad. Like so. Have a good show, boys.
until next year when we have the same conversation.
Look, man, it's just I'm not gonna not do it again.
Yeah,
it's
like-
just that's the thing now. It's just
Just don't take it from bags. That's the key
it
to me.
doesn't matter.
Take it from the box. Like that's the thing.
There
So,
goes Dusty
that
the
was,
heel.
He is absolutely a heel at this point.
That's been our morning. That's been our morning here. Trying to dissect this, and
So sports.
That's fantastic.
only Gager agreed with him.
I'm not
Gager.
gonna lie. I probably would do the same thing. Hey, when you get a sweet tooth at 11 o'clock, you're doing what you got to do.
I just
And if there's some sacrifices that need to be made, then there's sacrifices.
So kids got to sacrifice
Okay.
for your sweet tooth.
100%.
Belsey. But you don't dip into the kid's bag that your
Hey,
daughter
if
made.
it's
You
the
go,
bag part.
you go to the
11 o'clock.
leftovers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What happens if you would have taken all the candy out and then removed the evidence and then there was nothing?
It's a bad karma. It comes back to bad karma.
It is bad. I would honestly,
I'm
I would
sure
rather
now-
almost just take one bag out and take the candy that's left and put in the other bags to fill those up, and one's out.
And one's out.
Because in the end, well, they're leaving their candy on their porch. So
about
there's a good
this?
chance it's all going to be gone.
How about
100%. Some kid did that to us. He just dumped the bowl. We were away and he dumped the bowl.
And you had the video?
Yeah, we had the video.
Ring
This
cam?
is why, like, yeah, I'll never do
Can't
that.
trust
I will
them.
never trust kids
Can't
to do
trust
that
them.
You can't.
ever.
What if, so Dusty takes out the 5 caramels. What if now I think this would have been okay. If he went into the leftover box or bag of whatever was left over from the candy and replaced the caramels he took with a crunch or
Yes.
a coffee crisp or something.
Just put different
but just
chocolate in there. Put different
replace it.
candy. Absolutely. Get
Then
what
it's
you
fine.
want,
Yeah.
but the kid's still getting candy.
And it's all good.
You
To
haven't
me, it's all good.
shortchanged that bag.
Yeah.
So if that kid gets that bag, they are short one candy.
That would have
I
been
disagree
fine.
slightly
Why?
because it depends on the chocolate that you give to him. Like you can't just throw a coffee crisp back in there because coffee crisp, like that's a
You don't like
Bad.
coffee crisp?
Terrible.
What is
Terrible.
wrong with you?
terrible.
What
I thought I
is-
knew you.
It's
No.
like here's how I
amazing.
equate this. Okay,
You call yourself Canadian?
100%. Here's how I equate
is.
this. If I at Christmas time give you a pot of gold chocolates,
Which aren't the same as
I don't
they
really
used to
like
be.
you.
They're not good anymore.
They're awful.
Gold.
They used to be
I
the pot
think
of
that
golds.
people that give out pot of golds are like
It's the black box that
Yeah,
you like
it's got
pick
all
your
the different-
individual
Oh,
chocolates.
yeah, right,
They
right,
changed
right.
the
Like the
recipe
fancy
and stuff, and
chocolate,
it's not
yeah.
as good as
Yeah.
it used to be.
Yeah.
I think that if you give somebody a pot
Okay.
of gold, like you actually don't like them.
Okay, but what's that got to do with
that's
coffee
fair.
crisp?
I'm just saying it's the same. So if you
How's it the same?
if you put now a random piece of whatever chocolate into that bag and it's not a good one, and this kid's got like 2 of the lesser
See,
chocolates,
but now
that's
this is
where I'm
getting very
talking about.
subjective because
It is, 100%.
I think most people like coffee crisp.
I
I think if we
think
did a
most
poll,
people-
a lot of people love the
Let's
coffee
pull it up
crisp
right now.
I think I can do that on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Do a poll. If,
Let me
and
see how to
right
do
now.
this.
the
quickly.
worst
Kit
candy.
Kat would be probably number 1.
Kit Kat's great.
Unbelievable.
Arrow's great.
Okay,
Arrow's
let me
good.
see.
You know what was terrible? And it didn't come up very often, but sometimes you would end up with one of these. You get a mini Big Turk. Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
See? Subjective. But there'd be lots of people that like Big Turks.
But okay, but usually people these days they buy the box and it comes with the assortment.
Yeah.
I don't think there's bad chocolates in those necessarily.
Big
How many
Turk.
times do you
So
see the
it's like-
coffee crisp boxes out there though?
I love the coffee. I'll take them.
I rarely see them. Like at Save on Foods by my place, we rarely see them. All I see is the one with the arrows, Smarties.
That's Coffee
Kit
Crisp in
Kat.
there.
Is there? I don't,
yeah.
That's
I've never
Coffee
seen-
Crisp
Is
in
it
there.
really?
That's
Yes,
Nestle.
I have a box at home of that.
Really? You bring that puppy in.
You want the, do you want,
I'll
want
try
the
to get
coffee
back on the
crisp?
coffee crisp train.
I'll bring a coffee crisp in. I will gladly do that.
Equal
Now,
opportunity, buddy.
I got to figure out how to do
Bring
this.
that
No,
puppy
that was the
in.
wrong thing.
Eyes light up.
I'm trying to figure this out. I don't think I can do it on the mobile app.
Where's YouTube?
So
Trev?
I don't think
yeah.
I can.
He
YouTube
knows how.
Trev. We need
We need a
poll.
poll. We need a
Hey,
poll.
Trev,
We
can you
need a
come here
poll.
for a quick second?
We need a poll of the worst
We
chocolate
just need
bars
to.
in human
Okay,
history.
Do you know how to put up polls on a YouTube chat?
On the YouTube chat?
Yeah. Like you're in a manager of our account, right?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
figure it out. Probably.
Can you put one up? Are coffee crisps good or bad?
yeah.
Crisp.
That's the poll we want.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank
All
you.
right. We'll get the
So we'll
results
see
later
where that
today.
is.
I love it.
What do we got?
Atif has a solution to the problem. Atif says, if Dusty crosses a black cat today, he needs to go replace the candy. If he does not, then he's okay. Thank you, Atif.
That's fair.
Coach
fair.
C, coffee crisp absolutely sucks.
Whoa.
Strummy, I would pass up the caramel for a coffee crisp.
Ooh,
Hot take.
bold statement.
I love caramel.
A bit of a
Caramel
mix.
is really
Oh,
good.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Twixes are great.
I
Twix
know.
are good too.
You can't go wrong
Yeah,
with a Twix
yeah.
or a Snickers. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
I'd take
Mars
Snickers
bar
over a
even.
Mars. bar.
Same.
I would agree.
Same.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's the crunch of the peanut.
I think that would be it.
But there's allergies for like it seems
Mars
like they're
bars are
more
too
prevalent.
rich.
They are
That's how I
very
feel. They're
rich.
It's hard to eat a
they're
full
very-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very rich.
A couple bites, you're good.
Have you ever had the Dollarama knockoff chocolates that are 2 for $1 or whatever, but
No.
they come with 2 in them?
No.
No.
They're actually not bad. Like they're not obviously the same, but if you're at Dollarama, they do the 2 for $1s and they're just knock. I can't remember what they're called,
But it's similar,
they're at
just
the front,
not-
like you could tell which one is supposed to be a Mars bar, which one's supposed to be a Snickers, which one's supposed to be an
Okay.
Almond Joy type thing.
Yeah.
And you get 2 in the one pack, and they're 2 for $1. Really, you're getting 4 for $1.
Oh.
Not
Okay.
bad.
It's not bad. Okay.
right.
Do recommend trying those.
Check it out.
Also, their jelly beans are delicious.
I get their like
As good as
gummy
Jelly
candies.
Belly almost.
Wow.
I
Jelly
would say.
Belly's
I
good.
haven't
Yeah.
had a jelly bean in a long time.
No?
Yeah.
Raider Jesse Coffee Crisp is the GOAT chocolate bar. Thank you, Raider
The
Jesse.
goat?
I'm gonna have to bring that one in for you.
The
Yeah.
goat?
It's so good.
I will drop one off.
We're just
a
dropping
mini.
goat lines left, right, and center here.
Okay, I
dish
want to
it out
get
like
into that.
candy on
I do want to
Halloween.
get into that, but I'm gonna drop off a coffee crisp first.
Yeah, please.
Well, I don't know if you'll be here on Saturday. We got to figure that out. That's a different conversation.
Oh, that's a conversation at a different time.
I suppose,
Well, there's an
yeah.
Oiler game today or on Saturday at 1,
Oh,
which is
yeah,
going to
yeah,
mess with
yeah.
where he is
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and all that
that's
stuff. We
right.
can figure
Okay,
that out
yeah.
after.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay, you bring up something that's very true. GOAT is thrown around way too quickly these
Way
days.
too often.
When it's called greatest of all time,
Yeah.
10 people can't be the GOAT.
No, I agree with you fully. Like it bothers me that every player is the greatest of all time. Like, okay.
We always just throw out that this
Yeah.
person's the GOAT.
Yeah.
This person's the GOAT. That
Yeah.
person's the GOAT. And it's like, well, how many GOATs are there?
Yeah.
We have a herd of goats all of a sudden
Absolutely.
instead of one that sits atop the mountain.
It's like going into the basketball conversation. Who's a GOAT? But now it's like Kobe was a GOAT. MJ was a
MJ.
GOAT. LeBron's the GOAT.
Is he the GOAT?
I don't think
Will
he's
Chamberlain,
the GOAT.
Oh, okay.
Larry
Will Chamberlain, Will
Bird,
Distilled.
Hakeem, not
Like
Hakeem
everybody.
I don't think there's a sport like basketball that can have a legit actual conversation of who's the greatest of all time.
Yeah. It's two different eras. You can't compare the two.
Yeah, I would go even further. Wilt's era is even more different.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I've always gone to, I don't like the greatest of all time conversation.
Neither do I.
Let's do greatest of their era.
Yep.
Because it's like,
It's very
I
different.
think LeBron could have played in MJ's era.
I would agree with you.
He's
because
one of the
his physicality.
Yes,
Yeah,
he's
and
one of the
size.
few NBA players right now that I would say
Yeah.
I think you could plop him into the 90s. He
Yeah.
could survive and thrive in that NBA.
Yeah.
MJ could thrive obviously in this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Giving him more space, like,
Oh my God.
but it's that competition go up against. It's just it's too hard to gauge, and like there hasn't like when you look at Gretzky in his era, who was second in point team, like there was such a gap.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that in hockey ever again. Like they're like the type
Yeah.
of gap that he has with the like, because people will say in the '80s it was easy to score. Well, no one else was next to Gretzky though.
Yeah.
Like it
it's
was
true.
that separation that it's a pretty easy conversation. But basketball, I just think they're all so close. The guys that we could throw in that conversation, and it's just
Yeah, and they all impacted it in so many different ways, right? Like you look at Kobe, and he was probably the closest Michael Jordan clone,
oh yeah.
right? And then you've got LeBron, and then you can argue Steph Curry has come in and completely revolutionized the sport, the way that he plays.
It's up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like there's just so many different things. But I mean, I saw something yesterday. DeMar DeRozan is 33 points away from beating Larry Bird in points.
Wow.
Like,
I would
you
never
would you
consider-
ever thought that? But you've got Larry Bird,
Legend.
legend status.
DeMar DeRozan, probably what, top 10, top 20,
20?
superstar in the NBA right now?
DeRozan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd probably put him in 20 or so. I think
Yeah.
we could probably count 19 better.
Great player.
Yeah.
But like, I don't go NBA DeMar DeRozan right away. He's not the first.
Yeah.
Because
top
the
5,
era is
6
now
guy.
of scoring points.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like in the NFL,
Yep.
you know, it wasn't until I think kind of the Dan Marino era Dolphins that kind of switched
Yep.
to the passing of the NFL. And now we're seeing all these guys be like some of the greatest passing yardage leaders of all time in this era. But that's because they're passing more. Whereas back Joe Montana and the guys before him, there was a lot of running, so you didn't have to throw it as much.
Yep.
So your passing yards aren't overall going to be the greatest. But now you got Drew Brees, you've got Tom Brady, you got a few guys right at the top, and it's just going to keep growing because now the NFL's shifted to
Yeah,
a
so all they do
passing,
is just throw this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and running backs aren't valued as the same way.
which hurts me so much.
Craziness.
I love running backs. I grew up on the
craziness.
running game, like watching it, and I know it's not sexy to watch. But like when that running back breaks off a good 40-yard run or something, when that happens, like
It's the best.
because they just don't happen as much, and they're just so much fun. Like with the Elks back in like 02 when they had John
Avery.
I love
Then
John
Mike
Avery,
Pringle.
watching
he
it,
hate
John.
me.
Oh, that was Kevin Smart.
Kevin Smart.
Kevin Smart.
Yeah.
But John
Avery
Avery
was
should
awesome.
not have been a
wasn't.
running back in the CFL with his speed and stuff. He was too good for this league. Just not good enough for the NFL.
Right.
And so he
Well,
fell
he was-
here. But he, like, watching him run was something else.
He was small and he was quick and light. He wasn't like able to ground him. He didn't. I think he was too light, right? He went down to the NFL, then came back to the CFL with Toronto, and it just.
And he won a
didn't-
Grey Cup in 04 with them.
Yeah,
Which I was happy at least he won a Grey Cup.
yeah, that's cool. I mean, he was excellent. He honestly was, but
There was actually some players that were found out of that league, out of that XFL.
yeah,
It was say whatever you
Original
want.
XFL.
The original XFL. Say
Yeah.
whatever you want about that. There was actually good, legit players that came out of that league, and some of the stuff in terms of the camera angles and production have changed the sport.
Skycam I think was
Yeah, was a big one.
something from the XFL.
That was from
They
there.
did some pretty cool things.
I'm intrigued to see what happens moving forward because they've merged with the
US,
USFL
right?
and they've talked about renaming it to United Football League and
I don't know,
a bunch
man.
of those whole
The
branding.
The USFL was the spring league 2 years ago, and it was just like a 2-week thing for scouts to go and watch a few guys that fell through the cracks. And now they're going to merge with the XFL. The XFL, thank God that the CFL didn't merge with the XFL.
Well, that's the thing.
I thought it was. At first I was intrigued by it. I'm like, maybe this is good. Maybe this could stabilize the CFL. But really, the CFL is the tortoise of the tortoise and the hare, and it just steady as she goes, and it just outlasts all these other leagues.
The thing with the XFL was it was just everyone saw The Rock and they thought, look at this big name that's behind the XFL. It's got to work. Whereas I remember saying at 1260 when it was coming, why I was against the CFL joining was show me a league that has worked spring league in the US.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have just
AAF
failed. So
failed.
why are you tying yourself on that when you're a league that has a history of being around?
Yeah.
This is the 109th Grey Cup coming up or something like that. I
Yeah.
can't remember
Yep.
exact the number. You've been around. Like you don't. If you join the XFL and that fails, you're gonna for sure fail.
Yeah.
And the chances of spring league failing is greater than just the CFL on its own failing, based on history.
Totally.
CFL is still going. Numbers, ratings wise, have gone
It's
up.
gone up. Yep.
XFL is joining with the USFL. They're going to become one league now.
And it's going to fold
Teams are
in 2
going
years.
to be away. And I think one of the rumors was they're going to go to the model of the USFL, not the XFL, and go into hub cities. So they're not even going to play in home markets.
This is
boy.
not
To
going to
start.
work.
Oh boy.
It's not going to work. It's doomed from the beginning. And this, what would we call this? XFL 3.0? Well, you said they have a new United Football League.
Which used to be a spring league that failed.
Right.
Number of years ago.
Yeah.
And now they want to apparently get that name
Bring
to
it
go
back,
with the
yeah.
United
Didn't
Football League.
Dante Culpepper, when his career was fledgling, go
Forgot
down
about
to it?
that.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
He was in that league.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Dante Culpepper.
There
what
was a
great
bunch
goal.
of NFL guys that went there, and it was just like, what is
The only reason I thought it might have been able to work is that if you had logistics and you were thinking about it that way, you could have had like divisions where you could have limited the amount of travel, right? Saved a little bit of money because I think Seattle was one of the teams.
Yep.
And so then you could have
They
had
went
a
all over the
division-
US.
Yeah, they did. So you could have had a division of BC, Seattle, Edmonton,
Oh, you're saying CFL or
if
XFL.
it was an XFL and a CFL merger. This is the only reason why I thought, okay, maybe this makes sense and it might work because now you have that division of 4 and the travel between the teams is minimal as opposed to we're going to go to Toronto 2 times a year, which is quite a bit of money, right? And then you would have Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, and then you could add 2 U.S. teams within that same time zone. And then you would have had your Eastern division as well. And you'd had like different games where now you stay within your division a little bit longer. Then maybe you transfer to, okay, one game here, less money. But that was the only reason I was like, maybe this might work. But obviously it didn't come to fruition.
I'm surprised the XFL kind of didn't just go to that model, even just in the US in general, and just stick with like so the second iteration with Vince, they had New York, they had Seattle, they had LA, and they had Orlando. So you covered all corners of the US.
Yep.
And for the travel, that's a lot of extra
travel.
mileage.
Yeah.
Whereas why not just build it small, stay in certain pockets.
Yep.
Start with 6 teams. There's nothing wrong with being 6 and growing from there.
Yep. I think that's part of the problem though, is everybody wants to start big.
Yeah.
When it's like, no, like maybe start small, make
And
sure
scale it.
everything and scale it from there.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's working and then, okay, 1 team in, 2 teams in. And then at least now you've got something that's tried and true, right?
Yeah.
But come out swinging, and it usually misses, and then back to the ground.
The original USFL in the 80s, they got money hungry after they had a good first year. I'm going back to the Jeff Pearlman book, Football for a Buck. Great book, by the way. They had a good first year, right? They started to get good numbers. TV money was coming in, but there are still some ownership issues. There's some sketchy owners. And then they got the expansion bug because they wanted that expansion money, and they got aggressive with it. And then it created more problems like you were alluding to. And then even the next year when Trump came in, he absolutely sewered the league saying he was going to like it just turned into an absolute tire fire of a disaster. And these delusions of grandeur sink these leagues before they really can establish themselves. And that was genuinely a league that was challenging the NFL, and it was taking players away from the CFL, the good Americans that slip through the cracks in the NFL that end up here and play and are better suited to the Canadian game. That league could have been the disruptor. And that greed and aggressive expansion killed it. So, and we're seeing it again. Like you said, these new leagues now, they're popping up and they want to be like the big shiny new thing. And then they have some money to start out, and then boom, it's gone because it's not turning out a profit. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares ultimately. And like the original USFL, they end up just fizzling away and dying.
Well, to bring it to Canada, the two leagues that kind of launched at the same time, there's the Canadian Premier League of Soccer, and there's the CEBL basketball. And the CPL had a bunch of teams. They had Edmonton and stuff. They were talked about, we're going to add more teams. They've added one in the end in Vancouver, but they've lost Edmonton. And there's questions of Winnipeg and York right now of what they're going to do. And there's just problems with their league. And it sounds like there's some interest in investors, but they were saying that about Edmonton and nothing came of it. Whereas the CBL started off a little smaller, and they've been adding teams slowly. They've added Winnipeg. They've added Calgary. They keep adding a little bit more. And that league just seems more stable. That now they've got the TSN deal, and they're broadcast on TSN, whereas the CPL is, they're still on that one soccer that no one can watch. And no one knew that there was a final this weekend of it or anything
I had
that.
no idea.
And it was an amazing couple goals in it, but it's one league, it felt like took the right approach to slowly do this, and another league was like, we're going to do big, and it's just struggling, and it's just not getting what they need, which is a shame.
There's a template there, isn't it?
There definitely is.
Yeah.
There definitely is a template there. I mean, you look at Edmonton as a soccer city, there's soccer fans, there's avid soccer fans here. And if you would have had, a little bit of stability there, maybe you could have something good. But it just seemed like too hot of the gates, not enough, resources behind it, not enough infrastructure behind it. And then it just floundered along.
Yeah. I don't know much about that Fath group. Was it Thomas Fath, the owner?
Tom Fath is the big owner.
He was the guy that he kept it afloat. He lost a bunch of money on it, but it seemed to have a little bit of a pulse, and you had the supporters and stuff like that, but it didn't take whatever they did.
There's a few things that hurt. Like one, I think there was at one point 2 supporter groups, and they kind of got into it with each other, and there's I think Eric would know better with that.
Eric would definitely know.
But there used to be a group that would go from Pint on a bus to game days. They would all go to the Pint, drink,
really?
catch a bus, go back. Eric and I took it once. It was fun, and those people stopped going. And I think there was a disconnect between the organization and the supporters, which in soccer, you need that supporters section.
Yes.
You need that supporters group that rallies behind your team. What also kind of hurt this FC Edmonton, because they were in a couple of leagues, was they thought they had their own media company, M31 or something like that.
Okay.
And they thought that they could broadcast their games and do some things when they joined the CPL, but the CPL said, no, we run it all. And they lost out on that little extra business that they thought that they were going to have for themselves.
And that could be huge with sponsors and stuff like that. Yeah.
It really hurt them, I think, financially. Yeah. But then what they didn't do well in this city was, at least with Clark, they got into a fight with minor football about the use of the field. Right? And that's why the Huskies and Wildcats don't play there, is because there was an argument, there was a fight for Clark, and I think the FC Edmonton didn't really want to share it, so they had to leave. And then when you start going into the community and you start pissing off a portion of people, when FC Edmonton was about to fold, and then they ultimately did fold. When we were talking about it on 1260, a couple people texted me good, This is what they deserve. Like they messed
Yep.
over the football side of things, and like I'm glad that they're gone. So there's a lot of various factors as to why FC Edmonton ultimately failed here.
Don't burn bridges when you're just starting out, I suppose.
No kidding.
Oh, there's only one organization in town that can burn a bridge.
The others.
That's it.
Yeah.
They don't
and they burn those bridges.
if they want, they could burn a bridge all they want, and whoever they burn it for is going to try to repair it because they want to stay with the Oilers.
Yeah.
The Oilers can do whatever they want because they're that big of an organization, but the Elks can't do it.
Yeah.
They're not in that position.
Yeah.
No.
No one can burn a bridge but a Ouija. So don't do it.
And in theory, they shouldn't be able to, but having worked for them, I know that they do
But
and they can.
But there's
And they
always
get
those
away with it.
organizations in
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah.
Like the Leafs could burn whatever bridge they want in Toronto.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they wanted to. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If they wanted something from those people again, they would happily do it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
They'd probably come running back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if in LA, it's the Lakers and it's the Dodgers. That's their town. They can do what they want.
Good point.
And when you come running back and going, hey, we want something, like, or when you want that, they'll come running back. There's very few that can do that. So when you're FC Edmonton or any soccer team in Edmonton, you have no ability to burn a bridge. It ain't gonna go well.
No.
Are the Clippers going to be able to shift that city?
No.
Not even ever.
I'm gonna pull something up.
Like-
I need to find it.
They just went out and got James Harden.
Don't matter.
Like, that's got to be the most temperamental team I think I've ever seen together. Like, Harden will wake up and say, I'm not sure I want to play today.
That
You got
guy, man.
Westbrook, who arguably is one of the more selfish basketball players out there. Kawhi's Kawhi.
When he's healthy, he's
Dominant.
he's the best, one of the
but
top three
he's
guys.
a ball dominant player. So is Westbrook, and so is James Harden. There's only one ball. Like, how many? Like, you're gonna have to figure out how to share it. And you got two guys over there that are just like, well, I need the ball at all times.
I hope they don't figure it out.
Like, how does James Harden? How is he not able to figure out with Joel Embiid?
I don't even want to try to figure out what's up with James
I
Harden.
feel
But
James Harden is just ridiculous in all facets of life.
But okay, I'm gonna flip this. There's a lot that haven't been able to play with Joel Embiid. Jimmy Butler couldn't play with Joel Embiid.
But he's also ball dominant. If I'm James Harden, I'm saying, okay, let me lob this ball into Joel Embiid. Let him work his magic for the first 2.5 quarters until everybody starts doubling and tripling him, which they do. And then I'm going to sit back and I'm going to wait. And as soon as they start doubling and tripling him, I'm going to work myself open. He's going to give it back to me and I'm just going to hit threes. And then you've got everybody happy. Because Harden wants his points. We all know that. That's what he wants. He wants his points. He wants to be the guy.
Unless have they learned?
Unless have they learned?
Are they willing to
you're not-
sacrifice for a title?
You're not going into the Clipper land and taking that ball from Kawhi. I can guarantee you that.
Unless he's load management or hurt.
Yeah. The claw will be palming
Which
your
is
head.
maybe part of why the Clippers are doing this, is they know that Kawhi's going to get hurt at some point.
Fair.
That they know that he's just always that type of player who there's going to be something.
Yeah.
And it's an insurance policy that if Kawhi goes down in March or if Kawhi goes down in April or May, they at least
they've
have
got
James
somebody.
Harden there. And
Yeah.
it's not like the last couple of years that they've lost Harden or Kawhi and Paul George and they're going, what are we going to do here type of thing. Now they can say, okay, we've got James Harden to kind of carry this team. But then they don't have, they've gave up quite a bit of depth for
They
this
give up
trade.
tons, yeah.
So here's why they'll never take over the LA.
Yep.
Because this is from Snoop Dogg when Kawhi and Paul George first went to the Clippers. It's a Laker town, and it'll always be a Laker town. But this was his tweet at the time. He says, looks like I need to remind Clipper fans the hierarchy of LA basketball. 1, Lakers. 2, UCLA basketball. 3, the Sparks. 4, USC basketball. 5, the Westchester Comets. 6, the All Drew League teams. 7, YMCA Junior Lakers.
Oh, man.
8, the pickup teams at Venice Beach. 9, the Clippers.
That
So
is vicious.
Man.
it is a Laker town. As long as the Lakers are good, it will be the Lakers town. And when the Lakers are bad, people will want to talk about why are the Lakers bad as opposed to why are the
Talk about
Clippers good.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's what
is
they
a good
want.
point.
It is a Laker city and a Dodger town. And it doesn't change. The Lakers are the team of the stars.
Yeah, 100%.
Both
they are.
on and
Yeah.
off the court.
Yeah.
Stars are there in the seats. Stars are on, like, you just look at the retired numbers the Lakers have. Like, we're talking about greatest of all time type thing. Like, the greatest of the greats, there's a lot of them
plethora
are
of
up there.
the
And
guys.
LeBron will go up there too now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I remember when I was still traveling with the Oilers, and we'd be in LA, and anytime there was a Lakers game, it'd be like, hey, should we go to the Lakers game? And sometimes we would end up at the Lakers games, but it was tough to get in. It was either a ticket, sponsorship group that we would be chaperones of, the broadcast team. It was awesome. And then there was a few times where it was like, guys, there's a Clippers game tonight. We can just go across the plaza and go to the game. And everyone's just like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. And then Jack Michaels would be like, yeah, I talked to the PR guy. He offered us as many tickets as we want. And we're like,
you guys are the celebs of the night for the Clippers.
I don't know. And they would be like,
Welcome to the
lower bowl.
Oilers broadcast team. You guys are on TNT there.
And then at Lakers games, unless it was a sponsorship client hosting thing, we would be like way up in the top deck and we'd be like, this is great. This is awesome. And then we actually did go to like a Clippers game and we were like 5 rows up and we're like, it's just not the same. This isn't that. Let's leave after the third quarter.
I love basketball.
It's
so
awesome.
It
It's
is
so
a
good.
great time. Like, to me, it is my favorite live person event, I think.
I enjoy it.
And then, because it's part of, like, I know on TV it's tough with the timeouts, and I do understand where people like the final 2 minutes, it just takes too long.
Yeah.
But when you're there, they
It's a-
keep you so entertained
Yeah.
that you don't even realize how long that
fly
is.
Such an
by.
unbelievable show.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is great.
It's weird because, like, you know, a lot of hockey players, they sit back and they chirp the sport so much. They're like, "Wow, this is sick
Basketball?
sport." Like, yeah,
Yeah.
You hear it like in the locker rooms all the time. You're watching highlights on TV in the lounge, and guys are like, "This is sick sport. Like, this sucks." Like, everybody just dunks it and shoots it. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to shoot that three with guys right in your face? Like, some of the lockdown defenders that you have, like, you've got zero room, and you're somehow going to get that ball off from like whatever amount of feet away and put it in, or you're trying to dunk on somebody and you got Joel. How are you going to dunk on Joel Embiid? To me, it's a hard sport.
I think part of it, too, is like when you watch it, they're all the same height, so
Yeah.
they look
Like
small
it's,
in a sense.
But
Like,
then
they
you
look
see
normal.
them
It's
in
normal. But then when you
giants.
put if the three of us, even you,
Even Bell's
we go
easy.
up, stand next to them, you see,
I'm like Steve Nash's height.
Oh, yeah?
And you think of Steve
Yeah.
Nash as a small guy, and you're not.
yes.
Yeah,
Like, you're a big
geez.
man.
yeah, he's 6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
it's crazy.
There was a video of Wembanyama's like arm. He was doing these like arm
Yeah,
drills.
yeah.
Oh, I
just-
remember seeing that.
Looking at his arms, I'm like, those are
That
massive.
guy's an alien.
How about him and Steph doing the jump ball? And you're like, why did Steph even bother?
Just stand there.
Yeah.
Only bad things could happen
Yeah.
on you landing potentially.
I was like,
Just
good
let him
try,
take
Steph.
it.
Oh man,
Like, he's just that's a guy I truly hope stays healthy.
Yeah.
yep.
Like, he's got that body that it's like you could see there could be some breaking down, or
Yeah.
if it breaks at some point, like certain injury,
Yeah.
he's just gonna then keep having reoccurring injuries
Yeah.
or something.
Hopefully that doesn't
I
happen.
hope that's not the case with him, because he looks like he would, like, we're coming to the end of LeBron. To then go in the Wembanyama era
Yep.
would be just surreal.
Yep. We had when I used to play in Houston, we'd always get tickets, me and Joel Ward, and you know we became friends with all the ushers, and they're just like, buy a $10 ticket up in the nosebleeds, and we'll save you like seats down about 4 rows. And so we'd always go to the games, and one of the things, because we shared the Toyota Center with the Rockets,
I remember that.
right? Like you go down the parking ramp, and it's like all of our cars, and it's like, you know, you got a couple Escalades or the guys that were higher end guys, like in terms of you know, first round, second round, how much money they
Got
made
their
on their
bonus
signing bonus
money,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. And then you'd have the guys that were AHL deals, like kind of parking towards the top. And as you would go down, Steve Francis was there. He had his like Bentley, and that thing was parked up on the ramp as well. And you're like, that's a Bentley. Why is that thing parked up on the ramp? And then all of a sudden you'd walk down, you'd see Tracy McGrady had a stretch Range Rover and a Phantom. And then you had Yao Ming, who had his stretch Range Rover. One was black, one was off-white. And they would be down in the loading bay. And those two guys would always get their cars washed. So you'd go down, and it's like, these guys are getting their cars washed, buffed, whatever. And then everybody else is like, you peasants, get up there.
Wow.
Like, you got to walk down this thing, like, It was crazy.
That's like the valet. The Golden Knights have a valet
Do they?
in their at their practice facility and the car wash. Like those touches
it's
are
different.
pretty, and
It's
the
different.
money and yeah, it's just different.
I remember standing outside a bar one night with Wardo, and we were about to go into this place, and there was no line, 0 line. So we're standing, we're talking to the bouncer. He's like, "Hold on one sec." He gets a call. He's like, "Hold on one sec, boys." I'm like, okay. He's like, "I'll be back. You guys can go in, but you got to wait until we get back." Well, yeah, sure. Out comes this red carpet, right? This Phantom pulls, off-white Phantom pulls up. Who is this? Right? This little small guy gets out of the car. He walks up. He talks to the bouncers. Like 6 guys run out, opens the door. T-Mac.
Wow.
Just in. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And they're like, "Sorry, boys, you can go in after." I'm like,
No problem.
"No problem. I'll wait longer. Who else is coming?"
I want to update the poll quickly. 79% say they're good.
Coffee crisp.
21% say they're bad.
Thank
So
you.
it's a Canadian, like it's
Yeah.
we're talking about 80% here,
like the
basically
Rouge.
saying it's good.
I'm with you still, Belsy, on this one. Shake and bake.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw something that absolutely floored me the other day, and I was
sent it to
actually
me.
going to send it to you as well. It's that stupid drop kick.
Love it. Well, that's
punch.
actually how we got into that
yeah.
conversation about the Rouge the
Man,
first
I
time.
saw it, and I was like, "Okay, come on."
They did it again.
Yeah, I loved it.
What was it, like 3rd and 20?
2nd and 20.
Second
Reset
and
the
20.
downs.
Third would be punt.
You're right. And he just 6 inches. He boots it 6 inches, covers
Here's-
it. I
here's
would
the-
do that every time.
Here's the because the defenders played so far off the player, the receiver. Don't give them that much space. They're
You could
protecting.
still probably do it even if you tried
No.
press coverage.
If there was a player right there, the Owls wouldn't even try to do it at that
No,
point. Then
that's true.
because you don't want to be that team that does it and then you turn the ball over right there.
Man.
But when you're gonna give as the Owls, I'm gonna keep doing that every time. Then in the end, don't give me 20 yards or give my receiver 15 yards off the ball. Be within 10 yards. Be within 5 yards. And then what happens? I was like, it opens up offense. Because if they now have to come in to protect that receiver,
I hated every second
It's
of
a
it.
bit silly.
I hated
get
every
that.
second
Here's
of it.
the
bit
thing.
silly.
If they got rid of that rule this offseason, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
But if they
might.
don't touch it, I'm also not upset because like the second time especially, like first time it happens, it catches on everyone off guard. We all learn the rule. Not everyone knows the rule.
Right.
The second time with this being the same team doing it, what are you doing as a defense? Who's the defensive coordinator?
fair.
Like I put that one entirely on the defense. You saw it happen this year. 2nd and long. They did that play to get an automatic or new first down. Don't allow that to happen. keep people to the line, and that I put entirely on the defensive.
It is
coordinator the
100%
second
on
time.
on the defensive team for sure. I'm not going to
Yes.
disagree with you on that. I just remember looking at this thing and I'm like, it's the same thing as a Rouge.
Yep.
It's mediocrity.
What comes from rugby, just like the Rouge.
Oh, that's what it
Wild.
comes down.
Like
Wild.
it's where this game is from. It's what it
Yeah.
was built off of.
100 years ago.
So
Enough.
When was
Basta.
the last time you were at a rugby game?
I've never been to a rugby game.
So a
There was
rugby
the
game,
Rugby World Cup though that just
Yes.
I think
I
recently
feel like
concluded.
I haven't even seen any of those two things in a rugby game. And I went to the Four Nations Cup in Italy, and rugby, that's a crazy sport.
That is,
Is
a
he
crazy
in our
sport.
chat?
Who?
Fergie's prostate. I'm trying to see if he
Good
was
morning,
in.
Fergie.
Hi, Fergie.
Fergie runs the.
He was earlier. If you're still listening, Fergie's prostate, tell me, have you seen that stuff in rugby? Because
Well, you're going to for sure see it in rugby, but I
well,
went
like
to the Four
right
Nations.
lately. Well, so you go to one game and you're going to judge the entire sport of rugby?
Well, if you're going to tell me that this whole sport is off of rugby and then you got the two dumbest rules ever, like get these out of here because it's football.
It's
Not
Canadian
rugby.
football. This is Canadian football.
No, but it can still be
those
Canadian
things
football
gots to
without those
go.
two
The
rules.
the
Gots to
second
go?
rule is not Canadian.
Bye-bye.
The
Here's my
Rouge
participation
is a
trophy
Canadian
here.
rule.
Get rid of
Here's
it.
my
That's-
participation trophy.
If you say what makes the Canadian game Canadian,
Not those two rules.
Rouge is one of them.
Get
our
rid of
balls
it.
are bigger.
Bigger field.
That was
Another
the rule
man.
thing, and that's
Three
not true
down.
even. It's the Rouge,
The waggle.
it's the 3 down,
And the size
it's
of the
the
field.
waggle, and it's the field. It's those 4 things that make
Get
it
the Rouge
Canadian.
out of there.
Let's get the
Also the
Rouge
import,
out.
I guess, but
Yeah.
Rouge out, and then we're
then it's,
good.
Bye-bye.
then it's not as Canadian.
It is so Canadian.
It's less Canadian.
Oh.
You've made it less Canadian
No.
at that point.
The reason why people might think of Canadian football because of the Rouge is because of how ridiculous it is.
Yep.
Seriously, they mock it.
We're a joke.
Because
of the Rouge.
I'm not
because
going
of you
to be
guys
that
ripping
harsh.
on it. Because you
Because
guys
of the
rip
Rouge.
on it. No one and people
Because
in the
it's
game,
terrible.
people that love this game, we don't rip on it.
I love
And
the
the
CFL.
league
I
is
love
great.
football in general, but I don't
just
like.
hate the
I
Canadian
don't-
part of it,
I don't
don't you?
like the
does
part
not.
where it's. I see how you're trying to bait me right now.
Oh.
I just don't like the part where it's like, hey, this guy missed, and now we're going to reward him with a point.
It's not a reward. It's
It
just
is.
that
You get it. You're getting a point for missing.
you
That
got it
makes
through the
no
end zone.
sense to
That's
me.
the point. That's what the Rouge is. That's the rugby part
That's like
of the
that's like
Canadian
me
game.
in hockey hitting the post and being like, man, I
That's
almost
half a
got it.
goal.
That's half a goal.
beat the goalie.
But that wasn't what hockey was built off of.
Don't do that.
If hockey
Don't
was
do
built
that.
off of a
Don't
sport,
do that.
where if you hit the
No,
post,
no.
if hockey was built
Don't
a
do
little bit
that.
off of cricket, where you hit the wicket, then yes, they would have had that, and we enjoyed in the
Then
game.
we'd be winning 2.5 to 1.
And then the goal could be
Yeah.
worth 2 goals, and if you hit the post or crossbar, it's 1.
That's
I want to
outrageous.
But
puke
that's
right now.
but
Yeah.
that's not where the history of the game. That's not what has
Get rid of the
hockey's
Rouge.
evolved from.
Hockey didn't have a forward pass until like the 20s or 30s. It
Neither
was
did
illegal.
football. Neither did football. Are you talking football?
No, hockey.
Oh,
you
yeah,
couldn't
well,
pass the puck
You
forward.
couldn't pass it forward in football either. Then they've added it, but we don't have to subtract from history. Because I
We
love history. I
absolutely-
love where
we
we
can
come
improve.
from, and I don't need to forget
Oh,
about
boy.
about our past.
We can acknowledge the, Rouge
future
for
and the
100
present
years.
isn't all that
Getting rid of
matters.
it.
we should do a
what we've
highlight
done.
video, a tribute to the Rouge.
Yeah. so many great
Watch
missed
how many times
field
we've
goals
missed
and
this
punts.
kick, wide left,
You wanna
and
know
a guy
something?
runs it, and
Let's
a guy
do
just
it.
kneels.
On the Grey Cup,
let's
I
have a
want the
tribute
top
to the
5
Rouge.
Rouges of the year. Give that to
Yeah.
me, and then we can handle give me Chris Wallaby again. He can hand out those. He'll do Wallaby's Warriors and
so
then the
bad.
Rouges of the year.
Yeah, the best.
I'm gonna
Rouge.
find next year. I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
track of the best Elks Rouges.
This is
We should.
terrible.
And at the end of the year,
Yes.
I'm gonna go. These are my 5 favorite Elks Rouges of the season.
You know how to
All
great
for you
Rouge
two.
this year? Saskatchewan against the Elks.
See,
Sad.
and look at that. How that game completely changed
It was ridiculous.
because of that. I just want
Fergie's
to.
prostate. He got back to
Okay.
us. Read it.
It is a tactical play in the CFL, if it's not part of rugby. Says Fergie's prostate.
Boom.
Yes, Fergie.
So
Thank you,
I got to
Fergie.
then figure out more.
Good
where-
morning.
Yes.
Okay, I have to go to
Oh,
Oilers
yes,
practice.
you've got to go. Send Eric in.
All right.
But is he talking about the first down or the Rouge?
They both suck.
Fergie's. Yeah, but I don't know which one he's talking
Cozy
about. there,
texts
but-
in, hey fellas, I like the CFL, but the Rouge is the most ridiculous rule in sports. Cozy, thank you. All right, I'm going to Oilers practice. I'll get
That's
LTE in here.
I want you to ask every
you later.
single
See you, buddy.
Oiler, do they like the Rouge?
But I'm not even going there with them. Not
because
a
you know
Well,
what
where
the
are you gonna
answer.
go
You know
with
what the
them?
answer is going to be. You know what it's going to be.
None of those guys watch the CFL.
Says you.
Put that out there.
I
ask
asked
how many guys.
In the Elks locker room the other day, I asked Nuge who his favorite Elk of all time was, and he goes, Warren Moon.
Okay. So he got one.
With an
So he got one.
he got one.
He got one.
Well, technically that's an
He's
Eskimo.
also, but he's also,
That's true.
Well,
Eskimo,
still,
so
but
that's-
here's the thing: he's from BC. Like he shouldn't have a favorite elk. He should have a favorite lion. You should have asked him who his favorite lion was.
My favorite lion would be
G. Roy Simon.
G. Roy Simon was good. Manny Arsenault, great guy.
J.R. LaRose.
Jared LaRose. Louis Pasaglia of the Paisan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I gotta go.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. And then Eric will
See,
come.
buddy.
It's you guys are just wrong. You have to. I just accept. You guys hate. You want this to be the NFL.
I don't want it to be
this-
the NFL.
Oh Jesus!
I don't want it to be the NFL. Oh, yes. Yes.
That one over there. Eric's got the mask back on.
That is amazing.
You feel like it feels like the Purge-esque.
It is.
Fergie. That's
Yeah.
I think the more that's the one right
Like
there.
it's not Trevor Lawrence. It's you're ready for the Purge tonight.
You're trying to find a sports
Where
comparison.
Yeah.
have you guys ever watched the Purges?
Oh, yeah.
By the
It's
way,
messed up.
Yeah.
I actually didn't mind them.
There's
They're
multiple.
good. They're actually good movies, but the premise is messed up.
How many are there now?
Four.
Yeah.
I watched the fourth one finally this weekend. I was on Saturday. I was like, I need to watch something Halloween. I didn't feel like there was a lot of Halloween going on this year.
Yeah.
And I didn't see a lot of movies to
Same
watch.
premise for each
And
of
so
them,
I-
right? Like
yeah.
it's you shut down the city and you.
So the first one is just the Purge.
Yeah.
The second one, I don't think.
I think it's the same.
It was
It's
just
a-
it's
it's
just
just
the Purge.
a
The
Purge
third one
redone,
had
yeah.
it was an election year. Like there's a protection
Yeah.
of a
yeah,
politician,
yeah,
and then the fourth one is the first Purge. the history of how it all began on Staten Island and everything like that.
That is it, though.
And I think that's very Purge-esque.
You give me like a tri-corner hat or a big kind of floppy black hat type of thing. I don't know. It's got some V for Vendetta around it too. I think.
Yeah,
Kind of
Yeah,
mix there.
that's the one. Do you guys like dressing up? Do you like dressing up?
Oh man, I got some wicked photos.
Did you have an adult themed party this weekend, like most of the older people do? I guess.
No,
on
I
Halloween
had
week?
I had a games this weekend, so we couldn't do that. But you know, we talked about we had the mixer here,
Yes.
and we were talking about wrestling, and so me and my buddy
What do you
went as the $1 Million Man and Virgil.
You showed me that, and I almost passed out. That is, tell me which one is the real one, which one is the who's in costume there and who's not.
Exactly right.
Can I borrow that just to? I'll go.
We're gonna have to, we got to get that out to the.
That is, it was.
I mean, come on.
I remember walking down the street and some guy looked at me and started laughing. He's just like, I love Halloween. But I'm like, man, you clearly don't know your wrestling because I am Virgil and I'm about to stuff money in your mouth. And I definitely did.
Well, the wrestling ones are good when you can find a partner like
Yeah.
that or a tag team or somebody to kind of join along in
Yeah.
the fun. But no,
My
that's-
favorite Halloween costumes were I can't say the proper. Oh, what is this?
Well, this is a bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
This was in Germany. And I was a bumblebee. And I was not
How many
sober.
hours did it take to put that together?
I was not
Jeez.
sober.
I would wear costumes that were. I don't know what the right word because I can't say
Out
the
of the
actual
package?
word is. But like one of my favorite costumes was I was Will Fraser one year. I had a lot of fun being Will at the Howler.
You would dress up and go to the Howler as
different
like
things.
station inside
Yeah,
jokes
very much.
sometimes. Yeah.
No, I went with Will once, and I tried acting like Will.
That was
Like, telling
pretty- you were in
people
character.
like how to live their
Yeah.
life and like
That's awesome.
various things.
That's
And Will
local
likes
expert.
to,
I
Will
went
likes
as a
to,
local expert,
Will
yeah.
like to tap people on the arm a lot, so I'd go up to people and like really hit them. Like, hey. And I remember there was a couple times like with Jess Jackson, she got a little annoyed at times. And initially when I'd start talking to her because I'd be Will, and then it'd click in that I'm playing a character.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, now I get it. Like, but initially like she'd first like, what's wrong
Why
with
is
that?
you keep hitting me?
And then
Stop hitting me.
I had a lot, except Will at the time at the station loved having like he'd always have an orange. And
Yes.
he'd give an orange to someone or he'd have a granola bar. And I brought a bunch of oranges and granola bars. And as security's like stopping, like, you can't bring this in. And I was like, well, I work for the Bear. Like, I'm with the company. He's like, no, you're not. And like one of the Bear people were on air, like just over. I was like, no, like we could go ask her and she'll say I work
Yeah.
with this. And like, he's like, well, let's go do it. And I was like, yeah, like, let's go.
Oy.
And then he like, no. And then they just took my stuff. I was like, oh, well, like,
They still confiscated.
they still confiscated
That's
that.
part of
Sounds
the
brutal.
that's part of the costume. I mean, you spend money on
I
that.
know.
You invested in that. You got the character
Well,
down. You
I should have known better. I should have just given to like a street teamer earlier to get in, or
Now,
just
how
not
did
get
he
to someone
feel
else.
about that after you were like going in on him pretty good?
I wasn't going like I wasn't like being trying to mean or anything
Will's a
too.
good.
Like
He'd be.
with like I wasn't being
Yeah,
Will
I
at
know.
that time.
Oh,
I'm not
okay,
gonna lie.
okay.
Like no. I wasn't gonna be Will to people that didn't know what, like or didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I tried doing his poses too and stuff. Actually, then my best one was so at the station. We had this meeting one year where our bosses showed us this board. They created the listener of each station that we had, like this marketing thing. Like, this is your listener.
Yeah.
They are aged blank, and they like these things, and they do this. And the Bears, his name was Mike, and his wife was Mandy, and I can't remember what TSN's listener
It was like John's Sports. You know, like this is.
And Virgin
It is
had
cringy,
the
isn't
best part was for the Virgin one, as they're explaining to a room of radio people who the majority of people don't make a lot of money in radio. They're like, yeah, I can't remember the name, Ashley from Virgin. She makes on like $50,000. It's not a lot.
Oh,
She
geez.
knows that. She knows she's worth more. And we're all sitting there like, that's what we make or less.
I want to be Ashley.
And our
Sounds like a
bosses
hell of a
are
deal,
outright
like,
telling us right now,
sign me up.
that's not a lot of money. And we're like, huh.
Yeah, that was awkward.
And that room, like, it turned at that point, and people were not happy. But so one year I went as Mike, the Bear listener. Like, he had a blue shirt, jeans.
You hit it out of the
And then
park.
I took quotes from that thing and I just posted them on me. and our boss, like, he was excited to see what I was gonna do, and like we're in Yuke's room.
Took a while, though.
and he walks across the hotel room to come look at me. He's like, I'm excited, and his face just went like he was like a ghost almost, and he just went like quietly back to the other room and went away from me because I was just ripping this thing.
You communicate with the costume. You don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
Like the best guy, you just stand there. You look at it, okay. And
He came around by the end of the night. The fact that I
couple
have
drinks.
fun with
He
it.
had, he had
What
to
I-
cut the edge off.
Yeah, but like I was just playing that up, and like it was, yeah.
He's like, did we come up with this idea?
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta go right now.
You're right. 50,000 isn't a lot of like, you know what?
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Yeah. No, the Howlers were fun. I remember I dressed up as Charles Manson one year, and I smuggled in rockets, the candy rockets. I'd handed them out like drugs, like it was like the thing, and nobody caught on. So I had a lot of rockets, and I was handing out like. But if I was legit doing that, and they were, if I was. Who's to say? But nobody stopped me. You can't bring in oranges. Here I am handing out little
Your brother
rockets.
You can
Lucas,
hide rockets a lot easier than the naval
I'm
origins.
not going to explain the details how I got those in there, but I was wearing a prison jumpsuit. You can do the math. But my brother one year, yeah.
he went as a hobo.
He went as a hobo.
People were giving him change.
2012, I think he was digging through the Shaw Conference Center. He's going through the garbage. He's doing the bit,
Yep.
and security's like, "Excuse me, sir, you're not allowed in here." And you're downtown. That was, and the way he looks, his hair, and he didn't shave.
Yeah, people were legit giving him cash and like some coins because
Yeah,
they
little
thought he was
bindle.
bum and all
Hilarious.
of that.
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
See, and the thing is, like, I miss the Bear Howler or what it was because it was a big party for us. It became a station party because we had our own room. We had a green room.
green room was
Yep.
with free booze and food. And the majority of the people would never leave that room. Like, I would go take like 1 or 2 trips around the place.
Well,
and
you
depending
venture
on the
out.
band, it would depend
Yeah.
each year if I'd go watch a show or not. Like a 1 year Offspring played. I'm like, I gotta go watch. I'm gonna watch.
But when
Offspring.
you're in
I
a
like
party
them.
and you have
But
that safe spot that you can
Yes.
always kind of retreat
Yeah.
back to,
Yeah.
that was the green room.
It was-
You get a drink, you can chill out
and it
for
was-
a bit.
and people would just get wasted.
Oh yeah,
And we do a lampshade award every year.
It's great.
Sounds
So
amazing.
the Thursday prior, there's usually a meeting, staff meeting, and we would each draft who's going to be the talk of the town, basically, who's the
Big money.
lampshade award. And we'd all like, we
money.
would go around the room, and you're picking each other, you're picking other people, you're picking people's spouses, and we'd write out the list of draft, and then we would go and we'd do the howler, and then the next day we'd like a few of us would text each other like, who's lampshade, who's lampshade. Dusty won it one year, like as the worst.
Yeah,
he
like
cried
you're
or-
almost putting
Yes.
fuel on that fire.
It's a dangerous game to play. And then when
Yeah.
somebody nominates you and you're sitting in the meeting, you're like, well, now I have
Now I
I
have
got to
to
live up
go.
to something.
Yeah.
I got to.
Yeah,
Or
live
like
up
somebody
to
would
it.
take somebody out like that. You're like, that's a terrible pick. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Like Eric was a terrible pick. We always said, don't touch Eric because Eric
There's no
would
point.
just leave.
Yeah, it's like I'm
So
not.
he would never be
I
at
know
a
what it's
point. He
happening.
would never be at a point of winning a lampshade
No.
because it was like, well, when Eric gets closer to that,
Yeah.
he's gone.
He's
and you're not
gone,
going to see.
yeah.
Terrible choice selection.
Yeah.
Our
fair.
boss's wife was always a solid pick. Nadine was always a great
Yeah,
pick
it's
for that
true,
because
yeah.
she was a great time. But she was always a top pick. Dusty's brother-in-law Troy was always a top pick.
Troy too. Yeah,
Dusty was a top pick.
Dusty was
Yeah,
a top
I
pick.
feel like you get Dusty going.
It's because he would come in with triples and ready to go.
well, ready to
And
go.
it's
This he'd
just-
circle
He's
it on his
probably
calendar. yeah.
pre-drinking,
Family
too.
man. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
had.
This is my time.
we had some times.
He wept though, did he not? At one or
That was the
something
year he
like
won the lampshade.
And do we remember the content surrounding that? No, there's
No, I don't remember
This is-
fully.
we
I think
got
Troy
to
was there.
get him back in here. To talk about it.
I think he has
he's
to-
told that he's not afraid of that. Like, I don't mean to be saying that. And
I think he
doesn't
needs to smooth things over with his daughter.
like- Yeah, that took a turn. Hey, sorry, I missed the first half hour.
Yeah, no. So apparently she took a pride into each selection of the bag, or put a little.
Good luck getting this one back. Hey,
She's getting to go replace though.
he's already planning for
just
next
never
Halloween by
tell
now.
us.
You gotta, yeah.
So yeah,
Good times.
Halloween is just a fun time.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
just-
Giannis last night, full Hulk post game. Like he had the full costume on, not just the mask. I mean, full. He was answering every question extremely serious. It was
How big
That's
are
a Hulk.
yeah, it's Hulk.
How big are the Halloween parties when back in there? Were they like? Because now it seems like every team's kind of doing them. Were they there for you?
Yeah, they're pretty big. Like you'd find different times. So like maybe it wasn't Halloween.
It's gotta fit
but
into
it's
your schedule.
Yeah,
November something.
But yeah,
or-
guys would get. It would be a pretty big shaker.
A chance to kind of cut loose, and
Oh,
you're
100%.
allowed to in a
Yeah.
sense.
Well, you're never not allowed to, but
This gives you kind of more
This
of a
is- like, it's a
leeway
free
to.
pass almost.
Ah, it's
more of a
Halloween. I was dressed up.
everybody together.
Yeah.
The team is going to go. as opposed to maybe 1 or 2 guys, 3 guys, right? They'll go out, but yeah. Halloween together it's a good time.
Rookie stuff with Halloween, like everybody was again.
No,
it was like
you just gotta wait
you don
for
a
your rookie
costume and you
party.
just go.
Yeah,
you
you wait
just-
for your rookie party and you just call it a day.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I missed my rookie party by about 2 hours. I actually got sent down. It was in
No way.
It was in I was with Minnesota at the time. We'd played in Phoenix and we had the day off, so we went out the night before and everybody got wrecked. And then the rookie party was the next day. And there was only 2 rookies. It was me and Josh Harding at the time. And so then they sent me down. I got on my flight. 2 hours later, they had the rookie party, fully expecting me to be there. Thank God I didn't have to do that because the bill turned out to be 20 grand.
Does that still happen?
Oh, 100% still happens.
Is it a good like? Is that a problem?
It's a pretty good time.
Is it like? Because sometimes you see it with the NFL, and it feels like they've taken it sometimes a little too far. Some of the teams. Is it
Without
good in hockey
question.
that like
Honestly,
keeping it relatively
it's a great
decent?
time.
Yeah.
Like, you go out for dinner and it's a high class dinner,
Mm-hmm.
like 5-course meal. You're doing the nicest wines or whatever. Like, guys are just going to town. Like the one year in my first true rookie party in pro was in Iowa. I think I ended up paying $5,000, but we looked at the bill after because I was like, I'm taking that bill and I'm going to try to use this for taxes. I paid for a lot of this
Why not? Yeah, who's to say?
But there was like 165 wild turkey shots that were on that bill. And then there was like a bunch of other shots, but I just remember that one vividly because I'm like 165. Like, oh my God, like there's liquor poison. We practiced the next day too. Like guys are dying.
Oh yeah, you skated out of you a bit. But screw the taxes. Those receipts are legendary too. Just
yeah.
getting you don't
100%,
rack up a lot of those in your
No,
lifetime, and to just
no.
get one and be part of one is
Yeah, you got to save your first bonus, and then you got to save the first rookie
the
party.
first
one.
rookie
Yeah.
receipt. Yeah. Is it? But there's no you mail away. Hey, the rookie party checklist, and you get like everybody does it differently.
Yeah, everybody
veteran
does it
groups,
different.
leadership
Yep,
groups,
yep.
sports teams. I guess within
Yeah,
the
and, like,
sport,
depending on the guys that are part of your team, like some guys might make a little bit more money, so they'll ease the financial burden on the
Yeah,
rookies,
yeah.
especially if there's like one guy like there was with Josh Harding. But I think Hards had to pay 10. And then the rest of the guys picked up the rest of it. So, like, guys can be pretty good about it. It's just when you get those one-offs where it's a team of guys that are just donkeys and
yeah,
like,
and then they just
then
do
it's like,
whatever they want. And
here's your 20,000, and you got to pay all 20. Like that sucks.
Yeah. Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the welcome to the league.
League, yeah.
Fergie's prostate does say that he was talking about the Rouge, by the way, that it's not part of rugby.
Are we drumming this up again?
Well, we were talking about just
We
before
already
you came
did.
here.
I like the Rouge. I like
You guys
I
are
just-
now in the minority.
No. There's no.
No, we're not.
Based off of today, you guys are in the minority. We got
Trav!
it's 4-2.
Hey, Trav, can you put up a poll for another poll, please? I just need. Do you like the Rouge? Yes or no, please. Thank you.
I like Canadian football.
We'll see
I do
how
like the
that is.
quirkiness that comes with it. I can arrive somewhere in a middle point where the reward for missing a field goal, and if it goes out, I understand that. However, we can also understand the incentive that if you do miss a field goal, instead of no returns,
You
it's an
want somebody
incentive
to
to
return
get it out.
Yes.
And that's
yeah.
so I think there's like you could maybe morph the rule, modernize it, or whatever you want. But I still like it, given the dimensions of the field and given again, watching NFL games and having no returns at all, in boom, Neil, it's a great commercial time, but I do like the Rouge for that. And then you can get the score and it's not so mathematically even with, you get that 1 point in there and then you can really kind of mess things around with how you tabulate it. But I understand both sides in a sense when it comes to the Rouge. Now, when we were talking about the resetting of downs, punting thing. I love all that too. I love the wackiness of it all.
It is wacky.
Like
It's 100.
yeah.
That's a perfect term for it.
Yeah.
It's wacky. But
It's Canadian football. It's a different set of rules, albeit minor, but it's like a regular soda and a diet soda or whatever.
if it was a situation where it was 2nd and 20 on that the second time, and he boots it 6 inches, like to me that's a bit ridiculous. Now, if I have to at least kick it 5 yards, okay, maybe I might back off and be like, this is not as wacky because now that's like a little bit more of like the onside.
It's tempting,
But
but you're right.
kick 10 yards,
yeah.
kick it 10 yards, maybe go grab it.
I hear that.
to me, like I said, like if press coverage and you get that thing, I can still kick that thing 2 inches and just fall in it. It's the same thing. So like you could literally do this anywhere.
But if I start seeing you as a defender bring that ball down to kick it,
Man, I'm
my
kicking it
mind
right
changes.
off your face mask, and I'm going to watch that thing dribble, and I'm going to go chase it down.
But here's the risk with that.
Right.
It hits my face mask, goes out of bounds. It's my ball.
Fair enough.
Because the CFL, it's the last person who touched it, so now it's my football.
Fair enough.
And that's where I think like teams like no one would do it if defenders were closer to the football. So what does this change?
So
even
what,
if you
what
don't
is,
change
how
this
close
rule?
and do you need to be for a team to say no? Because like
I think within 10 yards.
10 yards.
10 to keep
Because
it.
But based on the
if
way he
I'm 10
kicked
yards
it-
off and I start seeing a player start bringing that ball down to kick it,
Yeah.
I think I could start closing in to credit. And like, because the goal is even, I don't want to have to recover the ball.
You just
Pop it
touch
somewhere
All
else.
you got to do is
Yeah.
touch it. and
Pop
get
it
out.
somewhere else. Let that become a live ball, live play, and then who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, but the guy that's going to kick that ball, right? All you're going to do is you kick that thing 2 inches. You're going to shield it with your back first. So if you're 10, even if you're 10 yards away, like you're coming in with momentum. As soon as I fall, I'm rolling so that my back is now facing you and I'm protected. So you can't even get it out there.
But now there's also a pressure of I'm that close to you.
This is
When-
an
if
XFL
you're-
coin toss at this point. You're kind of running for the
Yeah.
ball, and,
Yeah.
and one guy's vulnerable. And
Yeah.
If like in that game, there's no defender nearby. You've got time to bring that ball down to do the kick, make sure you recover it properly. When there's a defender closer, now that panic sets in a little bit more. Now that pressure sets in a little bit more on that receiver to make sure you kick that properly. You can't kick it too hard because if that goes an extra yard, now all you're going to lose a football. And you can't kick it too light because if it doesn't get across the line of scrimmage, well, you look like an idiot.
But even with football, like wildcat offenses and stuff, I just like seeing the game, whether it's Canadian or American, evolve. And then defenses, or now you have to catch up. And then once they do, you'll find another wrinkle to exploit or kind of move on to. And I mean, the NFL too, you know, the high passing mobile quarterback thing. I mean, that was a CFL, you know, and they get the idea. And you had Aikman talking about the waggle and all that. I mean, I just like that it's a game. And again, you played pro hockey. You talk to guys, oh, there's only really a few systems. You know, there's always that talk. Oh, there's only, well, then that's not fun. Like trap hockey too, boring or whatever. But I mean, hey, make them address it, make them answer it. Until then, we're going to keep doing this. And to that point as well with the play there, I mean, it'd be a nice thing to have built into your offensive scheme. Why not? It's another, you know, flea flicker, whatever you want to call it. Have as many of those bullets in your arsenal and have the defense make them stop you, make them react.
I think the problem that you see with it, and I think why people look at it and they're like, okay, well, that's ridiculous, is the fact that it's literally, I'm going to kick this ball and it lands right there.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a short one.
It's so short.
Yeah.
But like you look at like the flea flicker or the wildcat, like it's still traditional football in the sense that I still got to line up the right way. I still got to do this. I got to now execute that play. Right, where
You're not getting a first down
I'm turning it
by throwing 1 yard if you need 10.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a different type
the
of...
probability of it happening is different. With this play, because he was so far off, like you knew it was happening and you knew it was guaranteed, and there was nothing that I don't think there was a thing that another team could do.
No.
But at least with like a flea flicker or the wildcat, like I can adjust my defense and to close off some of the holes that may or may not be there.
But we've seen like that. That's now been it's a part of both American and so frequently. I mean, I don't even you see a flea. Oh, it's a flea flicker. Like you're not like it's not a surprise. Whereas this now is like you 2 times this season.
Yeah.
We saw this, and was it both Montreal?
Yeah, Montreal did both. That's
like,
why
I
the
kinda
second
like-
time I go, it's like you got caught defensively.
It's
You got
on
caught.
tape. It's on tape now, right? Like
Dusty was great at flea flickers in Tecmo Super Bowl.
Oh,
He
is
was
that
the
what it
king
was? Yeah.
of the flea flicker. He crushed me, Uke, and Hernan with that all the time.
I just like
they
how there's-
always would destroy us with it. I hated Dusty with the flea flicker. We eventually
Sure.
kind of figured it out a little bit, but for the most part, Dusty destroyed us with flea flickers.
you with the like,
It was something else. No, like here's the one reason I kind of hope the CFL doesn't touch this rule though in general. Because now that this is in the case, and now offensive coordinators are going to maybe look at this more and try to do it more, defenses will have to stay close to the line of scrimmage on second and longs, which might open up a real first down play, a good pass,
Sure.
or something, because there's a defensive breakdown, because now I don't have to just put all my defenders 10 yards off the line or 15 yards off the line because we just can't give up a 20-yard play.
Yeah.
Now I've got to have a couple guys closer, bringing that the secondary in a little more, everyone in a little bit more, and does that open up a play on a 2nd and 20 where we're seeing, instead of the Montreal Alouettes doing a little drop kick for the first down, we're seeing Cody Fajardo drop back, throwing a deep ball to Quan Bray or whoever it is, snagging it, and
puck's going in off skates. You want to increase scoring. Well, now we're increasing time between potential goals because you're reviewing things. Like, so you've gone in with the attempt to increase scoring, but now you're just wasting people's time with senseless reviews all the time. With like, it's that. What does this rule lead to, or what does this open up? I guess moving forward. And in Matt's case, that's
the part I think that's scary, because now you add this to the arsenal, and it's like, okay, so we've done it twice now. And everybody's sitting there being like, okay, well, that was like sneaky, good for them. But now if it happens the 3rd time, the 4th time, the 5th time, and all of a sudden it just starts racking up, now what's the conversation switch to? Because it's going to morph.
Sure, but then defenses have to evolve.
I guess it depends on how, if it's the same play that I just saw this weekend where defenders well off the ball, well off the player, then I'm just going to say, get closer, play better defense.
But then, as you say, what does that lead to when you're doing that in that situation?
If we're seeing that happen and guys are 5 yards off the line, and it's that tight to what you're saying where it's not much, and we start seeing that happen a lot, then I would go, okay, no, now we need to change this.
Fair.
Because defenses then can't defend it. Like, there's got to be a way for, to me, defenses, can you defend that?
Yes, there has to be. Oh, absolutely.
If they can defend it, then
prove
it's
to us that you can.
on the defense, figure it out. Yeah. But if it cuts to a point where you're like, honestly, this isn't really, you're not going to be able to defend
Same
this.
as the Rouge. I think you can have both, just adjust maybe that distance for legality.
And that's where then maybe it has to be goes 5 yards,
like
or we get rid of it completely.
If you're looking at
the
Rouge and you had the end zones tighter, and I'm not saying I want to change the end zones, right? But if they were closer, now, okay, it's a little bit different scenario, right? Like, at least with the size of the end zone right now, like, you have exit points.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why I think it's a little bit weird. Like, it's just the Rouge is.
If you got rid of the Rouge for a missed field goal, I would think you'd have to give an incentive to return the kick. So, like, a straight up, no matter what, the ball is going to be placed at the 40-yard line or whatever it is, unless you cross it.
But I think what you're saying too, with the field dimensions as they are, isn't that incentive enough? Where you run on an angle, was that kind of
I mean, you could always probably run it out for the most part.
But where are you getting?
But like.
If I'm a special teams coordinator right now, and there's no point given, or like I'm telling I don't want you running that out. If I can get, we're not going to give up a single, and we just get the ball at the 25, whatever.
Oh yeah,
right. I think you have to give a bigger incentive, like return, like we need to, and that's where maybe we don't want to give up a point, run the ball out. If you take that away, you got to find something to encourage them to return it, so we can still have that excitement. Yeah. And then maybe we go away from the Rouge.
Because I think that's what everybody wants, is that return, right?
Yes.
So
it went against the team in town, but when the Owls returned it against the Elks,
I've seen some games.
It's amazing.
But there's lots of wind games outside, and the field goal, like you can't kick a field goal, so they'll bring on the punter. Wally Bono did this famous. He'd punt 75. Like you're not getting the field goal. It's not happening from 30 yards out. So you just punt them through, and just pile up the points. Why not? It was an interesting angle to take, and strategy wise, when the elements were against you, and it was but
then that takes you to the analytical side, which all these sports are starting to do. And I think one of the biggest analytics is if your last down and short. If you decide to play it, like there's a high likelihood that you actually will do it. You're starting to see that actually in the NFL more and more. Yeah. Right? Anything to under 4 and 2, I think, right? Because you got the tush push, which is a big one for the Eagles right now. Could you do the same thing here in the CFL?
So, the Coffee Crisp poll ended. 79% saying good.
What's this poll?
Well, Coffee Crisp. You like Coffee Crisps?
How do you like your coffee? Crisp, right? Wasn't that the commercial? Wasn't there a commercial like that? That was the big thing.
Remember that?
How do you like your coffee? Crisp. Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, I don't mind a coffee crisp. They're crumbly though. They're a mess. You bite it and it's all over the place. So you need a plate.
The small one's not bad.
The wafer.
If you go and it's a yes or no, is it a yes or no?
Yes, I like coffee crisp. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Trev did send me an update on the poll for the Rouge. This was early. There was only 28 votes. 86%.
Said
like it.
Oh, get out of here, people!
You're saying we're in the minority.
Get out of here, people!
I'm here for the chat.
Rouge, baby.
I'm here for the chat. I do.
People like participation trophies, apparently.
Well, This doesn't
Get
have
the
to be
ball
so. This doesn't have to be so polarized, guys. I think we can kind of.
It's what makes
This is
part
just
of
what
what
me and
makes
Matty
it
do at this
Canadian.
point.
I know. I'm not. I feel like I need to mediate. We need to.
December
Yeah,
31st,
That's what-
Dolphins,
that's-
Ravens, baby.
All of this will be
Dolphins,
over.
Ravens.
This one
Okay,
is, yeah.
We
this
gotta
one-
come up with a
yeah.
bet at some point. We have to
Okay,
figure
wow.
that out.
Yeah.
But it's straight up Dolphins, Ravens coming up.
Maybe
is
for the
all
survival of the
December
Rouge, we'll get Randy
Yeah.
Ambrosian in this winner take
Yeah,
all.
I like
Rouge
it.
stays or goes,
Yeah.
depending on an NFL game.
Yeah.
Lamar
Done and
Jackson
done.
will save the Rouge for me.
Lamar and Tua, that's. Yeah, you
Lamar
guys
and
have some
Tua.
quarterbacks there.
Yeah.
I'm a Bills
That-
fan,
and that
so
would
nice to meet
be-
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well.
That would be the
You've
second
been through
last
it too.
week.
haven't you?
Oh, Bills Rough Riders, man. Oh,
I can't even.
days.
I'm
I
not
can-
even upset at you.
No,
like, we've
no,
both been through it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think there would
You
only
learn
be
to laugh at yourself.
one more week after that. I want to
After what? Sorry.
that game on the 31st.
Yeah, you're ticking down there at the.
Yeah, it's week
That's
17.
a big one for AFC.
So there's week
maybe.
18 still. So it's not like there could be
Yeah, right. Yeah.
not a
We'll
risk of
probably end up
resting
sitting
players.
at that point. So
Well, that's the only problem is I hope not
You'll be
because
so
then it
far
kind of
ahead,
takes
I
I
know.
away.
don't think we'll be so far ahead.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well, what's the difference?
Yeah,
6 and 2 versus 5 and 3.
We'll find out this weekend. They're
You
in
guys play?
Germany. Play KC.
Yeah, those abroad trips mid-season. That's
it's killers.
I mean, even you
When
talk to me,
do-
Buffalo going. Then Jacksonville had a residency in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you go visit them, and it's
Oh,
Yeah. So this is a big act. This is a big weekend.
Bills
for us.
Dolphins
Chiefs
is
too.
last game of the season.
we're
So
at
Bills, Dolphins,
Miami.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll be
And then
looking for a
you've
little
got
revenge.
That
KC
could be
right
a
now.
division. That could be for the
Yeah,
division.
we took you to the cleaners in
chance.
Buffalo there
I know.
a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago.
So
Yeah, you did.
KC and Miami in Germany this weekend.
Yep.
How do you slate that one? Hey, Chiefs coming off that game too against like they're gonna be pissed. They're gonna be looking
They're
to
going to be
improve.
pissed.
but you got to fly.
They,
You gotta
they
fly.
both got to fly. Like I
Gotta
don't know
deal
how
with that.
this is.
Closer for the Dolphins.
Two of
though.
the teams being a neutral site for the talking and the prep. Like that's we.
The Fish just got Jalen Ramsey back. You're getting Xavier Howard
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
You got Armstead back. You got Connor Williams back. Like they're getting some of their big
anybody
boys
else
back.
dropping off lately? I mean,
No,
you're
nothing dropping off lately. So we'll see. Well, they had Wynn, who was their backup left tackle, who was actually unbelievable. He got hurt, so he'd be one of the guys
Yeah.
that's out. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
The AFC is just too good.
it's where it's at.
It's really good.
There's just a lot of good teams.
And to be a good team like the Bills, again, you have these windows we talk about in sports where you don't necessarily plan them. Sometimes they happen upon you.
Yep.
But to be in that window when everybody else is also in one, you're like, damn it, anyways.
You got Jacksonville. You got the Ravens. You
Petition to
got the
move to the
Bills,
NFC
You got
today.
the Dolphins.
Like,
you got the Chiefs.
it's too busy.
Right there, and then the NFC. We're looking at is
The Lions.
It's the Lions and maybe the Eagles.
Eagles,
like are they
yeah.
like it's so open.
Well, the Niners
And
now
that's-
dropping off a bit, right?
Oh, yeah,
with
the 49ers have been
Purdy getting a little
not-
figured out, injuries
not
too. and-
normal.
And that's why, like, I was always wondering, like, if you're Aaron Rodgers, I get being in New York and stuff, maybe, but why are you going to the AFC?
Oh, that division.
Right.
as
You want
well,
to get to
eh?
the Super Bowl. You want to be that. Stay in the NFC. You have a better shot of getting there through that
Where-
side than coming through Pat Mahomes, Tua, Lamar,
Josh Allen.
Burrow, Allen. Lawrence,
Justin Herbert.
They having a bad year,
Low-key,
but,
but
like
I mean,
it's-
these- yeah, he's a
they're
threat.
loaded with QBs on the AFC side.
Yep.
But that Jets defense, and where would they
They're
be if
4-3
Rodgers
right now.
remained right? Like that's just it. We all think they
4-3.
wouldn't have won a game. Now we're all talking, as we do as fans and,
And
everything.
he's coming back way quicker than
yeah, and with that
Watch, he's
defense
gonna
playing
hurt
as
the
it is,
They'll be like playing so well. Everyone will be so excited that Aaron Rodgers is back
For the narrative,
and
I
all
mean.
of a sudden he can't
give it to me. Yeah.
He's ruining it for the team.
That is
He's
amazing.
actually like it doesn't fit.
Well, yeah, really see what he can do anyway. So who's to say? But
Well, I mean, you talk about like not fitting. How do you feel if you're Devontae Adam right now?
man,
You left Green Bay to go to greener pastures in Vegas.
and at the time playing with the quarterback that you went to college with or whatever
Yeah.
the
You
liked.
story was
Yeah.
there. Yeah, they're,
Yeah.
oh, they-
But you had such a good relationship with Rodgers. He would like look for you all the time. You're arguably in the top 5 receivers in the game. You sign a big deal. You go hang out with your buddy. Your buddy is an average quarterback. He gets shipped out of town, and you bring in porn star Jimmy G, and now he can't even throw.
and now
it.
you're in Vegas.
Now
and how did we
now
get
you're
here? Right? You're
Vegas.
kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy G, I mean, I don't know. And I sometimes jest about, we always complain about CFL quarterback. I mean, there's only 9 teams, and you can always look in the NFL. There's always crap games and crap teams. You don't get the attention because the good ones do. But I mean, a guy like Jimmy G, a product of being right place, right time, maybe throughout his career.
Pat's system. There's always that extra love.
But how much does this?
Tom Brady says trade this guy or I go, so he gets them.
And it's one thing to lose on a Sunday at 11 or whatever it is, but in a primetime game
and play the way that you did,
man.
That's one of the things the NFL has going for it. Like the CFL plays 4 games a weekend, but they're all separate. And when there's a bad game,
you're
we all
figured
know
out.
when there's a bad game.
You
know
are
when this is
figured
a
out.
bad game.
Yeah.
Whereas the NFL, when you look at their Sunday morning and afternoon, there's either 8 to 10 games in the morning, 2 to 4 games in the afternoon. You gravitate, especially if you have Sunday ticket or red zone, you gravitate towards the good games. You walk away going, oh, this was a great Sunday.
Sure.
Yeah.
But really, only 2 games were great in the morning slate.
Yep.
The rest were trash, but you didn't watch them because you were watching everything else. And that's what helps the Shield become the Shield, where it's they've got great football. And they might actually have to be careful of going more prime time because they want it like basically be every day of the week now.
The Shield, I get the
And
shielding
it'll
from
be if you like we know Thursday night football. People we've all said it for years. It's bad football generally.
Yep.
Well, the Sunday nighters are usually the best now. I don't know
because
why.
They could flex,
That's just
because
kind
they
of
could flex in the good games.
exactly.
They
And
could- they could take a look
you've
at
had
the
to digest
schedule.
some bad stuff, and I'll take a Sunday night right
They could
now.
look at the schedule again. I don't know why they didn't do it this weekend, but they could look at a schedule and go, "Yeah, that's not a good game. This game should be better. Put that one."
They knew the
there."
Heritage Class was on Sunday. That's why it was Bears. They just left
Oh,
like that.
I didn't.
They didn't want to go up against
They're
right?
like, we're not
Hey?
going up against Connor.
We never had that
Something like that. I mean, it was
conversation.
one Sunday where the NFL
Bears,
takes a side. You know,
Chargers.
kind of
Yeah.
That's no one's ever came up with that one. Can't mess with Connor versus Hubert.
right. Things are changing
I'm
now.
just going to go on a limb and say the NFL doesn't care.
They don't not concerned about the no, that doesn't radar.
How upset is the NFL right now? Are they kicking themselves? Chiefs, Dolphins in Germany right now. Instead of being here in either Miami or KC, they're both 6-2.
Well, they would have known this was coming.
But
We knew the
but
Chiefs
they
were going to
wouldn't
be
have
good.
known-
We would have known the Dolphins are pretty good.
You're right, but you wouldn't have known that they're both 6-2 in the hunt, arguably the best teams in the NFL.
I could have
That's
guessed.
at 7 o'clock.
I could have wagered if you asked me. You know
could
what I
have
mean? I
wagered
would have.
that KC would have
KC,
been there,
but even Miami, what they showed, I mean, there was a lot of noise.
7:30. So that's 9:30
7:30,
Eastern.
9:30 Eastern.
You're
yeah.
losing the Pacific Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
You
shame.
lose the Mountain Time Zone.
Yeah, but you gain those European fins.
I don't know what the NFL is hoping to accomplish with this fully. I don't get any sport fully what you hope to
Money.
accomplish. Well, it's money.
I
and
don't
it's
know how I'll
fans.
get the money, but
It's fans, but I don't think you could ever move teams there. I don't think you could have.
You could move a team to
divisions.
London.
because of the travel.
Yes.
yes. I think we
Yeah.
talked about this in a hangout too.
could.
You
But
could
Isn't that like we with the Oilers? We always talk about how they're in a tough spot because they have to travel across North America more than anyone else,
Yeah.
and that's you're dealing with 2 to 3 times
playing a game a week though.
You're going to London.
You're playing one, like the difference between what happens with the Oilers though is like you could end up playing 3 or 4 games in a week, right? With that travel. So that travel starts to accumulate and build up on you. But one game a week?
but how do you deal with that jet lag? Like, how easy is it dealing with jet
Well,
lag?
depend. Well, on these new flights, yeah, if you have like one of those pods, there ain't no jet lag.
Get the oxygen
Yeah,
tank
you get
and
the extra-
Like when
Well,
you had to
yeah.
go places.
When I would play in Germany,
Yeah.
I purposely upgraded my seat every single time and went to a pod because there was zero jet lag because you just slept the whole time.
Okay.
So like from that aspect, these planes that these teams have, they're the same planes, right? You get these big recliners, you put them all the way back. Guys go to sleep. You get great meals on these flights.
And the NFL, like
Yeah.
CTE aside, they probably lead the sports science. I mean, they'll
For sure they
jet
do.
lag probably doesn't exist in that kind of dictionary for them right now.
Yeah.
But the one game a week. I mean, Jacksonville is a good canary in the coal mine where they had, as I mentioned, a bit of a mini residency out there.
No, they still do.
Right?
I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. And that's you.
It'll take
It'll
you-
be them or somebody else, right?
it'll take you
I don't know
2
if it's
days to
gonna be
get
them.
acclimated though. It's like 2 days.
Well, and that's the thing though. That's where like I just
So if you're smart about it, you just go 2 days before, 3 days.
Yeah.
And you say, okay,
what the
like,
Ravens
let's-
did.
Yeah.
They went the whole week prior, and they took on the Titans, and
Have a
Titans
little fun.
flew it later. But that was because John Harbaugh's big into like the numbers and analytics and stuff, and I could see him being into the sports science a little more. Going,
Sure.
let's get there right away.
You got to get an edge.
But that's just where I don't
Okay,
know.
so then-
I think you'd have to have 2 teams there. I think you'd have
Fair.
to have 2 teams, so you could send 2 teams over. They flip spots,
Share
and then
a
the 2
place to
European
play, or-
teams could
yeah.
come to North America.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're looking at it, like here's the AFC South. You got Jacksonville, Houston, Tennessee, Indianapolis. Indianapolis is not close to those other places.
But you're also
So it's what, a 3-hour, 4-hour flight? 3-hour flight.
But you're in the same time zone.
You're in the same
or
time
you're
zone,
one time
100%.
zone different. Whereas Eastern to London is 5 hours.
Yep.
Mountain 7, Pacific 8.
Yep.
That's a lot to have to deal with.
It's
Either
a
way,
lot.
going there or back.
It's just a more expanded.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know.
just trying to pull up one team's schedule here just to see, like, because there is times where you might play a team that, you know, like the Dolphins, for example, they played the Chargers, so you got to go all the way to LA, right? And then you got to come back all the way and play in New York.
Yeah.
Right. So like they're still having those 5-hour flights.
I guess in like 20 years, though, the conversation we're having may not like 20 hours, whatever. Take the Concorde.
Seriously.
Yeah, like I mean,
Well, that's
a global. And then if anybody's going to do it, it's the NFL. I love the idea
like
of
the
the
money.
NHL creating some sort of Champions League where you get the Jokerits or the Swedish, any of those leagues, and do some sort of tournament style.
It's funny that you mentioned that because when I was playing over in Germany, they were actually, the KHL was actually talking about creating a 60-team league.
I remember that.
And they would pull all the top teams. So Jokerit is actually in the KHL right now.
Would they pull them permanently, or was it like
But they're out
temporarily?
now.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
out-
think
they're out
because
now.
of the
Yes,
war in
yes,
Ukraine,
yes.
they pulled.
So they pulled out, but they were
they were there.
permanently.
Yeah.
They pulled out of the Finnish league, and then they went to the KHL. They had Zagreb, which is in Croatia. Bratislava pulled out of their league. They went in. There was one team in China.
Yes.
And
yeah.
so like they were starting to pull these pieces together, and then obviously, you know, things happened, whatever. But within that time frame, we had this thing called the European Trophy, which was essentially the founding teams across Europe would play in this mini tournament before the season. And it's now shifted and morphed into the Champions Hockey League, and you've got a number of teams. So it's all the division winner or all the league winners. And the teams that finish in first
Best
place.
of the best. And
Best of
just-
the best. And they play in a bunch of these games, and it's unbelievable hockey.
Yeah.
It's just the time frame in when it starts sucks because all of a sudden you trained, you go to your training camp for, let's call it 2 weeks, and then you're into meaningful games like that. Like that's hard on the body.
Yeah.
It couldn't work for the NHL because the NHL would never want to do it because they have nothing to win.
100%.
If the Vegas Golden Knights were all of a sudden in the Champions League around the world,
Because they won
and
the cup and
they won the cup,
yeah.
and they go win. Okay, well, yeah, you're the NHL, you
supposed
should
to
win.
win.
All of a sudden, Joker knocks off the Golden Knights. The NHL looks bad, and you go, well, like,
Yeah.
there's no, like, at least in like Europe when the Champions League, you've got England, you've got Spain, you've got
It's
Italy,
just
you've got
so
Germany.
lame, though. Yeah,
They're
but they
the
even
top
stack
league.
themselves
right?
in
But
a- in a tiering.
they're
they do, for
equals
sure.
almost, right? And then there's
Yeah.
less, and we get the upsets.
Yeah.
But it's more just like
I
in the
understand,
end, it's going to
yeah.
be Bayern versus Man City or something, and you're on the same level playing field. But an NHL team losing to anyone
Sure.
else in the world,
Yeah.
that's not National
But
Hockey League.
That's so lame.
You look
though.
bad.
Like don't
Well,
be so
your
scared of
PR
having your
is
pants
bad.
pulled down though. But I mean, like then go out and whip
But then
them.
also at the same time, if they're always winning, what's the point of this? What's
for the
point
other
of
teams to
watching
get
this?
better. Like I just as a collective champions,
But
like I get
you'll-
it won't happen. I get why it won't, and you just. But I
There
get
will
it.
be no
benefit for the
chance
NHL.
for those other teams to get better because you're
The best
all
players
the
go
best
here.
The money
players
goes
are
here,
going
and yeah,
now,
The best
right?
money's here. Hockey's just too small in a sense that it can't. Like
The
there's
NHL
no
is
many-
the Super League.
The NBA is the same. Like this can't happen in basketball. This can't happen in a lot of sports. It can happen in soccer because it's such a global sport.
Right.
Yep.
And we have such top leagues in Europe.
But then why then are we taking games? Like what's the point of what are we doing?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What's the same?
I know
with
money, again,
CFL
it's a money.
2.0. When Randy was trying to get CFL 2.0 going, it was like, dude, focus on Canada right now because things are getting worse.
Well,
here.
you know
why
what's
the
left-
hell are we focused on Europe right
You know
now?
who's left behind in that little experiment too, which was a decent experiment. People getting jobs, guys from Australia, but the Canadian punter. And my
Yes.
buddy back
Everyone's
home
a
has had
punter.
a son
Yeah.
who grew up punting. The guy punted. His son grew up punting. Like I've been watching this kid for like 20 years now, punting, doing everything right. He gets to that one age where he's going to get
Yep.
drafted, and guess what gets instituted is that damn rule. Now Canadian punters are
Yeah.
so long. See you later.
which sucks.
You can't place it on. Yeah, and so it's just kind of we talk about timing and everything, but
Yeah, the only teams I think that would be able to give an NHL team a bit of a push would be some of those big market, big money KHL teams.
could you do like a
Yeah, like the
European
top
All-Star
team,
team?
Top
like-
teams.
What about an
St.
All-Star?
Petersburg
You
or something?
You're best of the best of the best from all those teams.
Yeah,
and
but then you're
as
you're
an
a lot
exhibition
closer.
fun game, I guess.
So
I don't know.
here'd
maybe,
be a perfect example. So I was actually playing in Sweden at the time for Färjestad, and we came over and we were doing an exhibition. So we played against the AHL All Stars and then we played against the Marlies. So we had a couple guys, because it was the Olympic break at the time. They were gone for the Olympics, so we had two of our better players out. We play against the AHL All-Stars. Obviously, our coach is like, you need to play hard, blah, blah, blah. But you're like, well, it's an All-Star game, so there's a bit of a conflicting desire to play hard there. However, we lost to the AHL All-Stars 7-2. Of those AHL All-Stars, all those guys were now going to play in the NHL. And a bunch of those guys had played in the NHL actually that year. So they're clearly good teams. But then we played against the Marlies, who were actually leading the league at that time, and we lost 4-3 in OT. Right? So the reason I bring this up is that there is teams for an NHL team and roster, the only ones that would be good would be those KHL teams, because they have guys that have former NHL players. There's guys that might have been on the bubble that have to play in top 6 roles that can't play for the Edmonton Oilers in a top 6 role. So they go over there and they light it up and they build that confidence. So there's a little bit of that. So there is some teams maybe that could probably compete. But if you're like the champion of the NHL, you're going to crush the champion of the KHL. But if you're the champion of the KHL, maybe one of those bottom end teams, like, okay, well, now we're talking.
Yeah.
There's might be
Taking
a
on
little
the
bit.
Ducks.
Yeah.
Type thing.
But I guess, and I get that, but in terms of just growing the sport and future proofing it, why wouldn't you want to spank them a couple of times and then let those leagues or those teams try to develop? Because you can't just, like, if it's just the NHL or bust, which it is now currently, and that's the standard. This is the North American thing. This is where guys are. But I mean, imagine if guys grew up in Finland dreaming of playing for the Finland, and then you made a bit of it, and then that grew there, and then you could. I mean, we talk about hockey as a global thing. We talk about World Juniors. Oh, it's just Canada, and if Russia's out, it's the States and a handful of teams. Well, for the betterment of the league and its survival into the future, wouldn't you want stronger federations around too, and stronger domestic leagues, and and this again early on in today. Yeah, your Stanley Cup champion would throttle whomever, but do you not want to get to a point where all those other leagues are somewhat grown up or a little more healthy?
Well, you're maybe giving them something to strive towards, which creates better development.
Which is way out in the
those
future, I
leagues,
get,
which
but-
in the end, the NHL could still poach those players.
Yes.
And might help your league.
Yeah.
In the end.
But it's a little different. It's hard because those leagues, in Switzerland, you have to have a certain number of Swiss players playing on your team.
Right.
They're only allowed to have 4 imports. I think you can have 6 on your roster, but only 4 can play, so that they give these Swiss players more
chance to-
opportunity to
But then
play
it
and to
forces
develop.
maybe the Swiss league to develop more Swiss
Exactly.
players.
And that actually happened in Germany, where when I was playing there, it was you had the ability to have up to 11 imports on your roster. So now you're taking a lot of those primetime spots away from the German players, but they've since shifted that a little bit, saying you need to have 4 under 22 players in your lineup. So
German
now-
or just-
German?
okay.
German under 22 players. Now what you're seeing is you're starting to see guys develop a little bit better. Moritz Seider gets drafted,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's out of the Mannheim system. You have that John Paterka. He's drafted. He was out of Berlin. You start to see these guys that are starting to come along only because they decided to change that. But, I mean, we played against the Buffalo Sabres when I was playing in Mannheim. We lost 5-2. It was a good game, but you could just see the difference in skill.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Like, so there's the high-end teams that are in Europe, they're not far away.
And it's grown from the time.
it's
I
grown.
mean, even in your
Yeah.
what you've seen,
Yeah.
encouraging,
Yeah,
good
and
for the
those
sport.
guys
I
are
mean,
just they're
worldwide.
looking for different resumes now, right? Like there's more and more guys that are, guys that are just out of the NHL. I think Tom Gilbert was playing in Nuremberg for a long time. Like, so you have some of those pieces that are there, and then you've got all these guys that are national team players.
Yeah.
So like there's the gap would close a little bit, but I still think at the high end of both, this would be
It would take
way,
a lot of
way
time to
better.
get to a
Yeah.
We're almost done.
Oh man, these other
Hangout's almost over. But final update that I got from Trev: 44 votes.
Oh, okay.
80% like the Rouge. So it's come down a little bit. But
Yeah, you know what?
80%
We need
like
to
it,
leave this one.
20%
We need to
don't.
leave this open.
Well, it only
longer.
stays for.
You need to.
It
I
only
think it's
stays.
going to keep coming down.
It
Yeah.
only
I'm gonna be
stays
calling
on.
everybody.
It only stays on the
You
YouTube.
better. We're friends. You better get
Can I
voting.
count on you to vote for me today? Yeah.
The YouTube, when the YouTube's over, it shuts off.
Oh,
yeah.
So like it's only got like a
It's
couple
too
more
cute,
minutes.
so-
Well, I could post a Twitter poll if you'd like.
Let's
Hey,
do
now.
it.
Would you
Get
like
it
me
on-
to do it?
yeah,
Oh,
let's get
taking
on
it to Twitter.
Okay, let's
take it.
quickly do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like the
I'm
Rouge, right?
I'm convinced it's probably
Do you like
a 60-40
the Rouge
or a
in
65
the CFL?
For liking it.
Wait, are we
For
saying
liking it.
liking it or are we saying keeping it in the CFL? What should we go with?
Well, the argument's not nobody's taking it away. And
Should the CFL keep the Rouge or get rid of it? Let's go with that.
Okay, yeah.
Should the CFL keep or get rid of the Rouge?
or just call it the red?
And I'm going to add the poll. The red.
the
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Too much en français.
No. That's it.
Come
I'm going
on,
to keep
people.
it for...
got faith in
I'm not
you.
going to go a full day. Let's go 12 hours.
Go 12
Not a
hours.
full
Let's go
day.
12
Oh,
hours.
boy.
People, be smart about it.
I'm going to tag you, Sean.
I'm gonna post it on
Sean will
mine
be
as
handing
well.
out campaign buttons all day long, various locations in and around the
Get
city.
rid of the Rouge.
Rock the Rouge. yeah.
Everyone that comes by to get a candy, he's going to first be like, I need you to vote for this.
right
And
now.
then you can do
Prop
this.
41.
Yeah.
Download Twitter. Get an account.
Let me get this on you.
Come on, you want this candy, kid?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Get
be
it.
handing out full-size chocolate bars.
Full-size caramels, yeah.
You're Bellsy.
Yeah.
Why isn't this?
You're adding him in the poll,
Bellsy
eh?
7. There it
Okay,
is.
yeah.
Well, I'm tagging so he
Very
sees
fair.
it
No,
quickly.
I
So
agree.
should the
Okay.
CFL keep
This
or
is
get
good.
rid of the Rouge? Yes or no? That's all it is.
Maybe.
Posted.
No, yeah.
Posted.
I
That's
can't
it.
wait to send it to Tom.
We're
Yeah.
gonna see how that
What's
goes.
your thoughts, Tom?
But the EST Hangout listeners are in favor of the Rouge. So that's you
I
are
knew it.
all that matters. We love you
Viva la
here at
Canada.
Edmonton Sports Talk.
It's wild.
Wacky. Is it wacky?
Sean, thanks for coming in. This
Thank
was
you.
fun. Hello Hockey coming up this Saturday, 10 o'clock. You and Tommy.
Maybe,
so.
right? Didn't you mention?
No, you'll still be doing a show. It's just we
Or
don't know
still
where.
Just don't know where.
Because Tom's going to want to do it from, I think, home.
Is he?
I think because the Oilers play at 1.
Well, we just have this
So
nice
pregame will
rink.
go 12 to 1. So I don't know if you want to. You could come in here. You can go to Tommy's place. You could do it somewhere else. Like it's.
Jeez, you guys should call the show the Rouge.
Seriously.
So yeah, that's what we have to figure out.
We are
That's
no
it.
longer Hello Hockey.
This is
It
wacky.
the Rouge.
Takes a lot to explain. The Americans don't understand it at all. Like,
Hello Hockey's still fun. 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Straight up. We'll only have a 60-minute Oil Stream pregame show. But
Okay, it goes
we'll
lower.
just go
Yeah.
straight into
Okay.
the pregame show. But it's just figuring out where you guys are doing it from. So
Fair enough.
The beauty of
kinda
being
fun.
online is we could do it from
Yeah,
anywhere
surprise.
basically, and
Yeah.
we could get it
I do
done.
have this nice new rink that we could possibly go to.
hey.
Which would work. But
Well, you would have to. Tommy's gonna be at his house
Tom,
because he's got to go to the other game because he's got to cover. That's why he's at the rink right now. He's asking the players about the CFL and the Rouge.
asking how many guys know about CFL
If there is a
players.
rink report today that isn't talking about the CFL,
right.
we're gonna have an issue.
Adam
with
Ernie
Tom.
gives a
I know.
20-minute answer on the Rouge. You don't want to
need
miss
to know.
this.
Yeah.
No one cares, but Adam Ernie's like,
Adam Ernie.
I've got it
I've
taped.
been waiting to lean in on this one.
Sean, thanks again. Lock Shop coming up
I
next
love
with
it.
Dusty and Huss. And then at noon, it's Gager, it's Cass, it's Dusty. It's two guys and a goalie. That's here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can listen to us on TuneIn. You can also watch us on YouTube. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. Be safe while you're driving around today, if you are, as kids are going trick-or-treating. So
Yeah, don't
keep an
drive like a
extra
maniac.
eye. And
Keep it,
on behalf of Mr. Purge here, Mr. Hates Canada, I'm Adam Wanek. Thanks for tuning into the Hangout. Lock Shop coming up
Mr.
next.
Hates Canada.